Hi, everybody. What's up? My name's Nicole Whitley. I also go by Nicky Wits on Twitch, where most of you are probably coming from. But today, I just wanted to let you know that I am posting my first ever podcast episode. If you don't know me, I play a Division I sport. I am a soccer player in college, and I also am going to school for sport media and communication, which entails broadcasting, podcasting, video editing, graphic design, and I feel as though I've always wanted to do something in content creation, just never had the motivation to do it. And I feel like why not do it now? You know, if it fails, it fails, and I'm not afraid of that. I would regret more so if I didn't try. So today, I am starting a series, my first ever series on this podcast about Twitch and all that different things that it entails on Twitch. So if you don't know, I also play video games besides playing a Division I sport, which takes up a lot of my time. I'm not the best gamer, but I do enjoy it. And with that passion, I decided to start streaming on Twitch. And my first ever guest, you'll see in a minute, is the person or one of the people who inspired me to start streaming on Twitch. So I felt that it was super on point to have her as my first ever podcast guest and the first series, which will be about Twitch. After that, I'm not sure where this podcast will take me, wherever my brain decides to go in the creativity realm, but I feel as though this podcast will more so entail athletics and Division I sports, because I feel that in high school I could have never guessed what being a Division I athlete was going to be like, and I feel like I have a lot of knowledge that could help people in that. And so, yeah. And I just want to say that there are a lot of audio issues coming from my end, not my guest's end, and I know that. I actually had struggled with this problem for about 6 months. I do all of my podcasting through Zoom, and Zoom actually had a feature that was automatically clicked on that allows Zoom to automatically adjust your microphone volume. So my microphone was peaking and then getting really low to the point where when it does peak, it was hurting my ears, and I tried to fix that. So if the audio is super low, just know that you would rather have that than the terrible audio, but I did not want to redo it because I know that we filmed for 2 hours, as you see in this podcast, and it's not the same and it's not as genuine if we were to film it again, because it did go so well the first time and we were just having a conversation, and I feel as though it'd be forced if we tried to do it again. So I just want to let you guys know that I do know about the audio issues, and I'm so sorry, but it is fixed and it won't happen again. It is my first podcast, so be easy on me. Actually, don't be easy on me. Give me all the feedback you can down below in the comments. But without further ado, I will stop talking because you're going to hear me talk for another 2 hours. So, enjoy. So today we have a very special guest. Her name is Rosie. Before I let her introduce herself and I stop talking, I'm just going to explain how I got her to be on this podcast episode, because her being on the first one is kind of a little bit sentimental. I just started on Twitch, and I grew a small community thanks to Rosie for the beginning. She kind of is the one who essentially jump-started my small Twitch journey at the moment, because she actually posted in her Discord about my first ever Twitch stream, where people actually came into my Twitch stream and I had viewers to talk to. I was kind of worried about having to start this Twitch journey. I was debating on months and months whether to start. I was worried about whether I failed or whatever. And essentially watching Rosie's channel, and you'll get to know her more, it's not essentially about failing. It's almost, I was worried about even starting. If I didn't have one viewer, I was like, oh my God, who am I going to talk to? What am I going to do? And there's so much more that goes into Twitch and goes into your community. And it's basically a support system. And that's why I love Rosie and her channel. I was watching her before I even started Twitch, and I loved her community. I know a lot of people from her community had come over and watched my first stream, so it's really sentimental. So I'm so glad to have you on. I think it's like a perfect first episode person to have, because it's about Twitch, and I just started on Twitch, and you were a big help. So if you want, just go ahead and introduce yourself so everybody can get to know you.
You're gonna make me cry. Hello? Oh my goodness. Well, hi guys, I'm Rosie. I do stream on Twitch, like Nicky said. Rosiepxo is my Twitch name. I actually only started streaming like 8 months ago. Hello? That's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of crazy, like putting it into words like that, but it hasn't even been that long. I started like right at the beginning of the pandemic, but haven't been streaming for that long, but I love it, love every second of it, love all of the cool people that I met. I think that's my favorite part. Just like, honestly, like Nicky's amazing, but like I've met so many cool people through Twitch. So yeah, kind of just like where I'm at right now. I kind of just started. So it's still, I don't know, I didn't just start, but in my mind, I feel like I haven't been doing it that long compared to other people. So it's kind of just like, I don't know. I love it though.
Yeah, I mean, I think you started streaming in March, right? I think
end of March.
End of March.
30th.
So basically April.
First day. So basically April. Yeah.
And if you guys don't know, Rosie, what do you have on Twitch now? I think you have like over 1.5.
Almost 2K. Right? I think like 1.7.
1.7 now? Mm-hmm. Girl, that's crazy. Seriously. Since March, but obviously that comes with a reason, and we all know it's not about followers. Obviously, of course, it's more so in a sense of growing a community. Like, of course you want your community to grow, but you know, a follower is a follower. It's different between having a follower and a supporter, someone who's going to come in. And I was going to say, from the first day that I came into your community, I actually found you from Maddie. So I only started playing video games about a year ago, and I kind of was introduced to Twitch because I remember I was like watching I was watching how to play Fortnite on YouTube, actually. Literally, like, the rules of how to play Fortnite. Mm-hmm. And I guess on YouTube has an algorithm. So I think at one point, Maddie's channel had come up on the side. And I was like, oh, shoot, a gamer girl. Let me click on her. Mm-hmm. So I binged all her videos. And I finally found her video where she said she moved to Twitch. I was like, what's Twitch? Like, she's doing so well on here. I didn't know the logistics of it. She's doing 10 times better on Twitch now. But that's how I found you, because you came in, you were so cool in chat, and then everybody's like, hi Rosie, hi Rosie. I was like, who is this Rosie girl? Like, she seems cool. And I remember I messaged you, I was like, we would be a good girl gang. And now we're filming a podcast, which is just mind-blowing to me. We can talk about that later, but that's how I found you. So I guess I was gonna say, we'll start off like just super strong with the question. I am so curious to know, what was the first like moment when you streamed to Twitch or thought about you wanted to stream? Like, what made you actually want to do Twitch?
So actually, I live with two guys, my two guy best friends in the whole wide world, Miles and Mark. Miles and I have been friends forever. Love him to death. Angel definitely has helped me through so much in my life. But last year, he was like talking to me, and he was like super into Fortnite. And he was like, you should play. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna play, blah, blah, blah. So he downloaded it on my phone, and he was like, you have to play Fortnite with me. Like, no one will play with me. Everyone thinks it's super lame. Like, please play Fortnite with me. And I'm like, okay. So there was like a group of us over at his house one night, and I think it was just like me and him in the living room, and he was on the Xbox, like everyone else was like doing their thing, and I'm sitting on my phone and I'm playing Fortnite, and he's like, why are you actually good? And I'm like,
oh shoot.
I'm like, I don't know. So then he's like, here, like, take my controllers. And then we start playing. He made me my own account, like we did all this stuff, and then he was like, you know, you should stream on Twitch. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I'm like, I don't know anything. So I'm like, yeah. And like, I don't know, I live in California. I live in Orange County. Like, my area where I live is definitely not gamer girls. It's really, like, influencer, Instagram, stuff like that. And so like, none of my friends were into it. I didn't have anybody around me, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll stream, sure, whatever. And then it's funny because how you found Maddie is kind of how I found Maddie. So once he downloaded Fortnite on my phone, I got addicted to it. I don't know what it was. It's kind of like with the Among Us thing going on right now. I got so addicted to it. Like, I would want to like play all night long on my phone. Like, I would have to keep my phone plugged in. It was this whole thing. And so he was like, stream on Twitch, stream on Twitch. So I actually went on YouTube and I typed in girl Fortnite streamers, which is and Maddie was the first one, and I was like, oh, what the heck, this girl streaming on YouTube. I'm like, that's so cool. So then I start watching Maddie, and then like I click on a few other girl streamers, and then I'm like, okay, like this is a thing. Yeah, like I didn't realize how big it was until you kind of put yourself into it, because it's like, obviously anybody can stream, but when I thought of streamers, I just thought of like Ninja.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like being someone that's not in this scene and like having no idea about anything whatsoever. Like, that's the only person I knew, like, realistically. And then like I knew about FaZe just because I watched girls on YouTube and they would hang out with the FaZe boys. But like, that's all I knew. So I was just like, okay, sure. Started getting into Maddie's community a little bit. And then back in March, when the pandemic happened, Miles gave me my graduation present early because I graduated college this year in the middle of the
flex.
pandemic. But he gave me my graduation present early, and it was a few of my friends. They put money together and they built me a PC. And so, yeah.
Wow.
And they were like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they were like, we really want you to push this. Like, we think like you should start gaming on a PC, get good at it. And like, we think you should stream on Twitch. And like, everybody was so supportive. And it was like kind of nerve wracking for me because I felt like I had so many people like looking up to me, and like I didn't want to let anybody down. And then I'm like, okay, well, like I know nothing about this. Like, what if I'm not good? Like, the only thing I knew about Twitch was Maddie. Like, Maddie was the only person that I watched. Like, I became friends with her and like friends of people of her in her community, but like I didn't know anything else about it. So then before I started digging into Twitch, that's when I kind of like went more into the website and like started researching, meeting more streamers, looking at different orgs, kind of like going through different games, different gameplay, and then kind of like just full force, just like going right into it. So that's kind of how it started. I had like, not that I was forced to do it, but I had a lot of like very supportive friends. And Joseph, he's also a streamer on Twitch. Him and I became really good friends when Maddie switched to Twitch, like last October. I met Joseph. He actually ended up playing with Maddie, but I kind of found his stream before, and him and I got super close, and he's so cool, and he was actually the one that made me stream on March 30th. So he was like, your friends got you this PC, you have a webcam, you have OBS, like let me help you. So my first stream ever is Joseph and I in a Discord call setting up my stream. And he was like, just do it, just go live. He was also live. He was having all of his like friends come over and like say hi to me and like all this stuff, and like kind of make the process a little bit less nerve-wracking. Because like you said, for your first stream, it's scary. Like you go into it and it's like, you don't know, nothing's guaranteed. You don't know who's gonna come in there. You don't know what's gonna happen. So it's kind of just like, I don't know, you're kind of just like taking a risk and you're going into it. So it was definitely like weird. And then that was like my first Twitch stream, and then I've been doing it ever since, and I love it. And I'm so happy everyone like pushed me to do it. I'm just like happy that people saw something in me that like I didn't really see in myself, which is huge. And then like now it's like I can do this and I can actually do it well. And it's like I feel like I'm not only making an impact on other people, but like I'm doing something for myself too, which is huge. So it's like very cool, like connecting everything and like bringing it all together.
No, it definitely is. I was gonna say, I didn't know that you were actually gifted a PC, which is so awesome.
It wasn't bad, but it was definitely just like a starter PC. And over the course of the past 8 months with me like actually streaming and taking everything seriously, I have upgraded it. But like the gesture was so sweet, and everyone was like, you have to do it, you have to do it. And at the time, a couple months prior, Miles built himself a PC, like a very, very nice PC. And I was like, that's so cool. And he was like, you can have my Xbox. Like, I don't need it anymore. And I'm like, okay. And then everyone surprised me. And I was like,
wow, that's so sweet. But it's also, I get what you're saying, because actually how I started was on my iPad. So I had my big ass iPad like this, playing buttons.
We would play together.
Yeah. Yes. I played on my iPad. Yeah. And so then I switched over to Nintendo Switch during the quarantine. I think I bought it. It had to be in like April. And obviously they were sold out everywhere. It was a huge thing. Nintendo Switch was sold out because everyone was home. And I price gouged on Amazon for like $430, like psycho moment. I don't know why. Grateful, but bought it, then ended up deciding all three of my older brothers built PCs. And one of my brothers works in cybersecurity. So they were like, we'll help you over Discord. I'm like, what do you mean a PC? Like, what is, I didn't even know a monitor doesn't come with a PC. Like, what? So I decided one day after, because I also graduated this year because we're the same age. I graduated college this year, so my birthday's in May, and so I got some extra money for my birthday and graduation. Decided to get these parts. All these parts came in, super long delivery for COVID delay, and these parts came in. I never watched a YouTube video prior on how to build one, and I'm actually looking at my PC right now. I'm talking. I'm like, how the hell did I build this thing? I don't even. If you ask me to do it again, I don't even know if I could do it. Yeah. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to school right now for broadcasting, hence why we're making this podcast. I want to take the knowledge that I learned in school and put it in real world. That's the whole point. And I had all the equipment for school. If I didn't go to school for broadcasting, which I shouldn't have been in a master's program because I was playing soccer in college and I was supposed to finish senior year. I was going to be done trying to go play pro. Got knee surgery. It was a blessing in disguise because so many doors opened and other doors closed that maybe I shouldn't have gone down, which everybody has a plan for something. Same like what you were saying, like if you didn't get that PC, you wouldn't be streaming. Mm-hmm. So I decided, like, if I always wanted to stream on Twitch. Ever since I started watching you and Maddie, you guys were the main two, because then I found Carly, OMG, it's Carly on Twitch, and then I started finding more people. But you two were the first two people that I started watching. And I kept saying, I want to do this, but I don't want to fail. Because you think, like you said, all you know is Ninja. How do you catch up to people or even start when they're already ahead? It goes with being an athlete, going anything. Yeah. So it's like, but then when you're streaming on Twitch and I see your community, and obviously none of us are the biggest, like, nobody's Ninja, you know what I mean? Exactly. But it's almost in the sense where you have this small community that keep coming to your channel and is like, holy crap, like, these people actually want to watch me and I might actually be good at this. And that's what I see from your channel is like your confidence is through the roof and people see that and they see that you're a genuine person, that you don't care about anything, that nothing, like essentially when you start, it's a hobby. It's something you enjoy to do. And that's why if hopefully one day that you do blow up, because I feel like you'd be one of the most people that deserve that, because you started genuinely with a passion and you're so grateful for those friends who pushed you, even though it was nerve-wracking in the beginning. But going along with like starting and building that small community, because almost when you go into a big Twitch streamer, they can't even read their chat. They can't even read their chat.
Oh my Lord, I know.
It's crazy. So it's like you have this community, and that I'm so grateful to be a part of. Every time I go in there, like there's never been a time in a stream I didn't enjoy it, watching your stream. I know there's other, Twitch streamers where I go and I'm just like, I just don't want to watch them. And people might say that about me. That's totally fine. I understand. Yeah. But I want to know what, besides the first moment you streamed on Twitch, when was that? Did you have a moment where you were like, okay, I can do this thing? Like, was it, like, say example, you had like a couple people come in your chat and then they showed up the next day and the next day and you were like, okay, I can do this. I can build a community. This is a thing. I want to know, did you have like a moment where you're like, okay, let's do this?
Yeah. Actually, not to bring it like kind of dark, but when I first started streaming, you kind of get into like the whole aspect that like there are mean people out there. It's the internet. People are hiding behind a computer screen, whatever. So I actually was streaming and I remember someone came in my chat, said something stupid, whatever. Tyler, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, he's one of my mods. Banned the guy. It wasn't a big deal. I got this like huge, awful message that like I won't get into after the stream from that person, I'm assuming. And I kind of was just like, I took a step back and I was like, okay, like, is this something that I want to do? Because this isn't going to be the first message that I get, and that's not going to be the first comment, and that's like, this is going to happen. This is something that I have to prepare myself for, like, mentally. And so I was like, is this something I want to do? Is this something I want to do? So I remember going to Twitter and my Discord, and I was like, guys, I'm just going to take a couple days off, because I wanted to really think about it and like prepare myself for it. Like, I didn't want to just ignore it and then have it kind of all fall down on me at once and get like super overwhelmed and scared and then not want to do it again. I'm like, I want to take this head on. I really want to like do the best I possibly can. But like, if I'm getting comments like this and then I'm getting drained, people are going to see that and it's not going to be entertaining. It's going to be very sad to watch, and it's just going to be sad for me. So I took a couple days off, and during those couple of days, Tyler went around and asked people if I made an impact on their life, what they think about me, what they think about my streams, and put together a video. It was like 5 minutes long. It like made me cry. I'm getting kind of emotional now. But it was like a 5-minute video, and it was like some people were constant regulars in my chat. This was when I had like maybe like 300, 400, 500 followers. Some of them were regulars. Some were people I knew from Maddie. Some were people I've like interacted with once. Like, it was just people like that came, and Tyler messaged all of them, and he was like, can you just say like a few nice words or like anything you want to say to Rosie? Like, she's gonna see this. I never posted it, but like I still have the video.
Oh
my God. I was like sitting there and I was like, okay, at the end of the day, people are going to say what they want to say, no matter what, whether I'm doing something very successful or I'm doing something very bad. People are going to say anything. So I'm like, this is something I love. This is something I want to do. I want to go full force with this, and I can't let these little comments overshadow the fact that I have all of these people that look up to me and support me and are just like there for me no matter what. So then it was kind of just like, okay, this is going to happen. I kind of need to like figure out how I'm going to handle it and then just let it not affect me whatsoever. So I think that was like the main moment where I'm like, okay, like I can't let these little comments just like get in the way of things. This is something that I really want to do and I'm really passionate about it. So then I was kind of just like, it's going to happen. You're going to get comments no matter who you are and no matter what happens. And it's just half the time it's literally people that are just trolling, because now like Twitch has that option where when you ban someone, they can send an unban request and they can say like why they want to be unbanned.
Yeah.
I have people that come in and they say these awful things and then they get banned and then they message me and they're like, I didn't even do anything.
Yeah, they're like, I'm so sorry. I think I was gonna say, because with that moment, I actually had that for, I've only, like, I think today is actually 1 month, like, officially that I started streaming, and last night we had a ban, like, our first person for, like, some, like, fucked up shit. Like, they said crazy stuff, and, like, I don't believe in zodiac signs, but, like, I'm a Taurus, so, like, I'm a little bit stubborn, like, I could be hot-headed sometimes, and we have this thing where, like, I don't ban them right away. Like, I'll just, like, clap back a little bit. Okay. And just, like, to have, like, a little bit of entertainment. Like, we've had a couple people do, like, little things. We're just joking around. But this one was, like, I was actually, like, okay, this guy's gonna have to get banned. So, and it's, like, I was proud of myself for, like, actually inside I wasn't, like, upset. Because it was just, like, someone coming in, like, you suck at the game. And I'm like, yeah, I know I suck. Like, I don't care. I'm not saying I'm a great player. And it was almost like, more so if someone were to be like, you know, you just look, you know, those comments where people are like, you don't look happy today, you know what I mean? That's like the ones that affect you. You're like, okay, that's like my content is that, oh my gosh, like now I'm nervous. Someone could be like, oh my God, you're so ugly, I hate you. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah. But if someone's like, you just don't, like, I'm not enjoying your stream today, or like, you don't look happy, I feel like those comments would bother me more, and I feel like that would be the same for you. But almost like you were saying, that one day where you were, you know, mature about it, and you sat down like, I have to go either full force or not, because people are expecting that from me, and they wouldn't want me to half-ass it.
Yeah, like people are mean, and it gets draining. Like you see on TikTok now, and it's it breaks my heart going on TikTok, and like I've thought about going back and forth and like starting to post content on TikTok, but it's just like you have to prepare yourself for it realistically, and that's like the mature and smart way to do it, because it's like if you just go into something and then you get all this hate, you're gonna start looking down on yourself and you're gonna think that you're the problem, which isn't the case at all. It's just like these people have nothing better to do, so they're gonna sit behind their phone and they're gonna make these comments, because
and they don't like, judge. They judge people who are doing better than them. That's do you judge someone who you're actually happy for, that you're glad now?
Exactly. No. So it's like you can't let these comments affect you, and I think I'm happy that I took those couple days off to like really reflect about that, because otherwise I would have just listened to everything these people said about me. And
it's sad because you could get 1 million nice things. When I go in your chat, it's all nice things. But that one thing drives us over the edge, which I don't, it's just a human thing. It's, yeah.
So that's why it's definitely important to sit down. And like, I'm a big person that like, because I will definitely like act out on my emotions. Like if I'm upset or I'm angry, I will act out. Like I will.
Same.
A lot, especially like this past year, I've been working a lot on like sitting down and actually reflecting, and like, I don't know, I started getting big. This sounds so lame. Oh my God. I started getting big on like lists. So like if I'm really struggling with something, I'll write down the pros and cons, and like I'll think about like, okay, if I make this action, like where will I be in like 6 months or a year, or like how will this affect me and the people around me? And I've really been trying to like focus in on all of those questions instead of just acting on impulse, because I feel like a lot of the time, it might be good and people would be put in opportunities that they normally wouldn't be if they didn't like push themselves out there. But I think for this case, especially on Twitch, like, not that I'm careful with what I do, but I want everything that I do to be impactful, and I want it to mean something. So it's like, I don't want to do something and then like have someone who looks up to me be like, oh, what the heck? Like,
what's the point?
And then I'm like, oh, I'm like, oops. Like, you know, like, not that like I'm watching the type of person that I am, but I definitely want to like be better for myself, and then also show people like you don't have to like freak out and you don't have to like do all of these things on impulse. Like you can sit there and you can think about it and you can take your time. Like there's all the time in the world. Like you don't have to like do it right now. Just relax, think about it, and then like do it the best that you can. Like put the effort into it and kind of just breathe.
Yeah, I mean, everything that you're doing, like you do it for yourself first, no matter what.
Oh, 100%.
And I feel like that's what you're doing. And then it becomes meaningful because people then come voluntarily to come watch you, and that's when that community builds, and the stuff that you're putting out is impactful because you're like, okay, people actually want to see it. But essentially you do it for yourself. And sometimes I feel like, I know I was doing this in college, and this could even go in friendships. Like I was doing things more so for other people than for myself, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm not, because I think this past year it was like one of the hardest years of my life in the sense because soccer was almost like my identity. And now half the people that like either watch me on Twitch or I'm friends with now didn't even know I still play soccer. They have no idea. My whole life was revolved around soccer, getting a scholarship, going pro, doing this and that. Got knee surgery, couldn't play my senior year, completely lost.
Yeah.
Found you, found Maddie, found things that I was actually genuinely interested in, and cut off some people in my life that I didn't need. Who were unfortunately on my team or on past teams that I played with. We lived with girls, so sometimes living with your best friends or your teammates are like, it's super hard.
Yeah.
And I wasn't playing soccer, and I was in this world where everybody around me was talking about practice, and I couldn't even go to practice. And they were talking about what the coach said today and what happened in the game. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I hate my life right now. I hate it. I need to go do something. Yeah. That's when I started hanging out with my boyfriend and his best friend who were playing Fortnite, and that's how I started on playing on my iPad, watching you. And I feel like, I don't want to make you emotional, but like you were like a light in my life, essentially motivating me. This is why I'm doing Twitch, was essentially because you. Maddie had no idea who I was at that point, but you did. You recognized me, and that's why. Oh my God, don't cry. I don't want to make you cry, but seriously, you were actually, and this is what I wanted to tell you, like you did that for yourself, and you were worried that you weren't putting stuff out that was for other people. But then now you put out such amazing content that's for you, and maybe it's just you literally playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Then you're like, who the hell wants to watch me play Fortnite? But there's so much more to that.
There's so much
the fact that, like, I remember that I'm totally, this was not even on the plan of this podcast. I remember the first second I came into your podcast, you, like the first words I even heard you say, you were giving advice to someone who was being bullied. And the way that you took it, that's a hard thing. You don't want to say the wrong thing on the internet. And you don't want to make that person feel even worse.
Exactly.
And so I remember when I came into your podcast, you were helping someone who was bullied. You completely forgot what you were doing in the game. You were like standing somewhere in Fortnite, not doing anything, just going on a rant to support someone who was saying that they've been bullied. And I was like, damn, this girl is awesome. Like, saw the community. Everybody was backing him up, like helping him. And it was just one of the most amazing thing. So I just want to say, like, you were actually a light in my life. That's why we're here right now. It's crazy that I watched you almost as we're the same age. I don't care if someone's younger than me. I will look up to anybody who makes my life better. And I think that's definitely something that you did and are still going to do, because I love your channel. I love you as a person. And even though maybe, people on the internet, you almost think about internet friends are like, everybody on the internet's toxic. Your community is like the most safe place. So if anybody wants to join your community, and you could plug yourself at the end, join. I mean, girl, I'm telling you, this past year was one of the hardest, and every day I look forward to streaming or watching streams, and that's why I just found out about host lists. You're at the top. You will always be at the top because you were the reason that I started Twitch and got me out of a rut in my life. So I don't think you knew that, but now you do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is why I love Twitch, and not just because, like, I don't know. It's not about the money. It's not about the views. It's not that. It's this. Like, it's relationships and it's friendships. And, like, I've always been a very social person, but I've always felt like I've never fit in, if that makes sense. Like, I live in a very, very busy area, and like everybody's going out and everybody's doing things and everyone's trying to be like the center of the attention. And that's never been me, but I've always been very social. Like, I don't know, like I love being on Twitch and I love like streaming, but I'm not a very like hey, look at me person. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like
a showy person where
yeah,
you could be
so
social in the sense where you like friendships, you like relationships, you like being with people and stuff like that, rather than in a place where you're like Instagram influencers over here, everybody's going to this expensive restaurant. So it does make sense.
I don't post on Instagram. Everyone gets mad at me for it, but I don't. But it's just like, that's not me. Like, I'm not like the type of person that's like, hey, want to go take pictures? Like, I can't do that. So it's like, I think for Twitch, like, it's been very nice because I can still thrive off that like social aspect without having to like compete with other people in a setting, because it's like where I live, it's like we all go out and then everyone's trying to just like one up each other, and then I find myself just like sitting there not saying anything because I'm like, okay, this isn't a competition. Like, I want to get to know everybody. Like, it's like, I don't know. And I think that's what's so cool about Twitch is it just gives you this platform, and like I just sit here, and regardless if one person comes in or 50 people come in, I'm like, hi. Like, it's just, that's just how I am. And I love it. And I love that I can, like, outside of me streaming, like, I love Twitter and I love Discord. And so it's like, I have all of these different apps where I can talk to other people and build relationships. And then it's like, when I'm not streaming, I'm in Discord calls, I'm playing games with people, I'm FaceTiming friends and like doing all this stuff with people that I met on the internet. And it's like the coolest thing ever. And it's like, I've met more people my age on the internet that I have interest with rather than people that I've lived with and gone to school K through 12 and done all this stuff with my whole entire life. Like, it's crazy. And it's always like, I don't know, when you're growing up, your parents are like, don't talk to people on the internet. But I'm like, Mom, like, my mom and dad like kind of know about Twitch. They like don't understand anything. And so I was just like telling them, I'm like, yeah, I'm like talking about Maddie because I got her a Christmas present. And I was like talking about it. And my mom's like, isn't that crazy that like you're friends with people that are your age, but like you haven't hung out with them in real life? I'm like, yeah.
Oh yeah, they don't get. My mom on the first day of Twitch, I told her, like, the first day I was able to make money on Twitch, she goes up to me in the house. There was like a couple people in the house, like my boyfriend. She whispers to me, she goes, "Is it legal?"
Is it legal?
I go, "What? What do you mean?" They have no idea. They have no idea. Yeah, she thought it was illegal.
It's very important to me. Like, I'm a very like relationship person, whether that's like friendships or like romantic relationships or like family. Like, I just love like connecting with people. Like, I'm very big on like connections and like just people being genuine and just being surrounded by good people. Like, that's my favorite thing. And I feel like with Twitch, like, I think I can only like count on one hand like the number of times that I've actually had like very, very bad interactions. Like, everybody that I've met is just so amazing and like so heartwarming. Like, I just love everybody, like you and Carly and Sophie and Maddie, like just girls in general, like girls that I've really connected with, like Kayleen and like all of these people, like they're so amazing. But it's like, I would never know who any of these people were if it wasn't for Twitch.
And it's also like, you think about it, maybe the reason that we have built relationships with these people is because, you know, you're talking about in school, you haven't met people your age who you clicked with. And it's almost like, okay, yeah, we just went to the same school. That doesn't mean we need to get along. But now you find people who are on Twitch because they have an interest in this and you all are interested in it. And that's maybe why we get along with these people, because you found people who, it's almost like a little niche that, you know, you could connect with, and they all enjoy and get what you're going through and enjoy the same type of things. And that's why it's so amazing.
Well, and it's cool too, which is like kind of weird to think about. Like, a lot of people that I have met through Twitch, like I don't know, people could take this like a weird way, but I'm friends with a lot of people of all ages. And like, not that it's in a weird way, but it's like so many people are so mature too. Like, I have so many people that like are in my Discord server that like I have full on conversations with, and then they like tell me how old they are. And then I'm like, really? I'm like, that's awesome though. Like, the mindset that they have and like the outlook that they like, the look on life that they have, and just like all of this stuff. I'm like, that's absolutely crazy. Like, I didn't have that mindset when I was 15, 16, even like 13. I've talked to 13-year-olds that I'm like, your outlook's amazing. Like, keep it going. Like, you need to have that outlook on life. And I think that's what's so cool about Twitch is it's just like, in that moment, you're talking to a person, you're not talking to a label. Like, it doesn't matter how old they are. It doesn't matter. Like,
And it's also like, you don't know what they look like. It's like the first thing that goes at everybody's so judgmental, like in school, about what you look like, what you do. And I think growing up my whole life, like everybody thought I lived the perfect life. Like, oh, I'm the soccer player. I'm the one who's going to college on a scholarship. Every fitness test we had to do at a tryout, I had to win it. And I was like, sometimes like, what if I'm just not feeling it? You know, I don't want to have to have this life. And then I go to college and I'm still doing the same thing, playing. And now people are like, you do Twitch? And I'm like, why does it matter? Yeah. They're like, well, you're the last person I would even think plays video games. Okay. Because of what I look like, what I do. Nope, and that's why when these people come in, yeah, exactly. You have conversations with them and you don't know who they are at first. You're just bonding over just enjoying the moment at the time. And then you're like, okay, whoa, you're 8? Oh, you're 50? Doesn't matter. We get along, we get along. Yeah.
We get along very well. And that's the thing. Like, it's just connections and like relationships. That's why it's so cool. Cause it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, especially because like you were saying, like when I go out in public or, well, California's on lockdown again, but it wasn't for a little bit. But when like I'm interacting with people that I haven't seen for months, and then they're like, so what have you been doing? And then Miles will just be like, oh, she streams on Twitch. And I'm like, dude, can we, like, not that I'm embarrassed by it, but it's like, I know the people that are around me are just going to be rude about it. And people are like, oh, well, like, do you make money? I'm like, that's what you're going to ask me? Like, you don't care about, like, anything else.
Are you happy? Like, you can ask me, like, do I like it?
Like it? How long have you been doing it, maybe? Like, it's kind of just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like now, like it's all about like OnlyFans and like making money off that. So people just assume like, oh, you stream? I'm like, it's not like that. I play video games. And then,
literally.
Oh, and then they lose interest. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, never mind.
But, yeah, you reminded me why I didn't want to talk to you in the first place.
Like, I didn't want to bring it up. And then I have some girls that talk to me that are like very nice, but then they're just like, I don't know, people just go about it for the wrong reasons. And I think you can't go into this with those kind of intentions. And a lot of people ask me that question, actually. Like, we can get into that later, but like, you can't go into it with the mindset like, oh, I want to stream because I want to make money.
Oh no, that goes with anything in life. Why go into something that, okay, you say you're in it for the money, you go into it, you could go into something else that you love for the money. So why do you want to do something? And like the chances that you're going to make a living on Twitch are slim. The Twitch has no algorithm. It has no besides viewers. So it's almost like you're, like I said earlier, you're trying to catch up to someone who already started. So it's like essentially you have to go into it, or and if you want to succeed, the only way you'll succeed is if you're not even thinking about success. You're thinking about what you're doing in the moment and enjoying it. It'll come. Yeah.
So it's kind of just frustrating when I like meet new people, or when I'm connecting with people that I haven't seen in months because of the pandemic, and like all they're asking me is just like all these questions that kind of don't like, not that it's supposed to be about me, but it's like they don't care about me. They care about what I'm doing, and they're like, oh, I should do that. Like all of that stuff.
They want to make sure you're not doing better than them, essentially. They're just like double checking. Yeah.
It's very weird. That's why it's like, I don't know. I feel like nowadays, like I just connect more with my friends from the internet than like people. I barely talk to my friends in real life anymore, except for like my best friend. Like, but it's just like, I don't know. I've cut out so many people just because so many people have that negative mindset where it's just like, if I'm not posting on Instagram and I'm not going to lunch in Malibu and I'm not going on all these fun trips and like taking pictures and vlogging it, then I'm not living my best life. And I'm like, these people haven't heard from me in months, and I bet you that I'm happier than they are. And so it's kind of just like, I don't know. It's weird. It definitely like your location and where you are and like your community outside, like in real life, affects you. But like I didn't realize like how much like an online community would affect me the same way, because it's like, I feel like it's even, I don't know how to like explain it. It's
no, I think like, it's totally making sense, because it's almost like I remember I had a toxic friend group in college, but I felt like they were my only friends because some of them were teammates, and it was like I see them 24 hours out of the day. I live with them. I go to practice with them for 3 hours every day. I see them, and I was almost like, if we wanted to go out once in a while that we didn't have soccer, I had to go out with them, and I hated my life because the second someone walked out the door, everybody was talking about them. I'm like, what do you say about me when I leave?
Exactly.
Like, what do you say? So cutting them out
was the exact same situation. I dropped all of those girls like a couple years ago, and then like kind of kept like my foot in the door with 3 of them. There was like 6 of us. And then now I just have my best friend and that's it. But it's
I think some advice we could give if anybody's watching that's young, because I know a lot of people who are going to be watching this are supporters of your channel and are young, and they're going to say, I'm basically just going to say, like, your circle will probably get small. Like, thinking about it 100%. Now.
100%.
Yeah. Like, if you know, like, you know, you're not getting along with this person, and it's so hard to do it because you go to school with these people for hours a day, every year, the same people. I think once I got to, like, college, and I still had that situation, almost even worse than high school, and now I'm out of college, and, like, most of my best friends, I either don't play sports, or I think I would say my boyfriend, and then I have 3 of my close friends who all live far away from me now. So I do keep in touch. I don't see them all the time, but your circle gets small, and it's for the best.
But it's fine that it's like not to keep like bringing up where I live, but like where I live,
it affects your life. Yeah,
you feel like you have to have all of these people that like you to feel popular or like to feel wanted or anything. And I'm like, if I had the mindset that I have now, back when I was like even like a junior, senior in high school, I would probably only have one friend, and like by choice. Like I would just want that one friend, and we had each other's back, and like that was it, and we didn't have to worry about anything else. Because it's just like, it doesn't matter. Like, all of that stuff doesn't matter. And I've never been the type of person that like likes drama or likes anything like that. So it would be really hard for me being in a group with a bunch of girls who would just be constantly bashing on each other. And then I'm sitting here and I was always the one that was in the middle because I was so neutral. And I'm like, well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? And I'm like, can we just like all get along? And then I would always be the one that's like, ugh, she's so like sensitive, or like she's, oh my god, she doesn't even like I would just always get like attacked because I wasn't the one talking about people. So it kind of just gets to a point where you're like, okay, enough is enough. Like I just can't keep doing this. Like I think I literally was crying, and I was like, I would rather have 0 friends than be friends with these people anymore. But then it's like you put yourself, and like you identify yourself with the people that you're friends with.
100%.
So like I dropped them, and I remember I was so sad because I was like, I feel like I lost my identity. Like I feel like I don't have any friends. I don't have any, like all of the hobbies that I had were with them. Like I didn't have anything for myself. So when I found Twitch, and like I was like, this is perfect. Like I'm like, I love it. It's such a unique platform where like, yes, the algorithm's weird, but there's room for everybody. So it's like you can.
Everybody starts at the same
exactly.
place.
So it's like, I'm like, if I can go in there and I can talk to one person, that's enough for me. And I'm like, this is different. This is something that no one around me does. Like I can kind of just like figure it out, go through the waves, like do it all on my own, and kind of like build something for myself. Like the people that I live with, like, or live around, like no one knows I do Twitch besides like maybe 3 people. Cause it's like, I didn't post it on any social media. Like I didn't tell anybody about it. And so I wanted to build something by myself. I didn't want it to be this thing where I post on Facebook and like all these people I went to high school with were watching me. Cause I was just like, I'm not going to be able to disconnect that part of my life. Like I want to start something new, and I want to start something fresh and figure out the type of person that I am instead of identifying myself with these people again. So I kind of just started and didn't tell anybody. And now I definitely have a very healthier mindset when it comes to everything. So
I think I remember my friend, that toxic friend group that I had, that one time they said, you know, Nicole, if you went missing, we wouldn't know, because it's almost like you go missing every day. Like you either stay in your room, and I'm like, but why does it matter to you?
Yeah.
Like if I don't post on Snapchat, if I don't post on Instagram, you think I'm dead? Like what?
Yeah.
Like no,
it's not like you're not doing anything. Like you have to post every 5 minutes.
And I feel like we had like a similar start, like in the sense where I had 2 Instagrams before. They all got hacked. I don't know how. My passwords were kind of simple, so it's my fault. But I didn't really care about it that much. So that's kind of like why.
Yeah.
They got hacked, and so I was like, I could start all new social medias for my Twitch name that I would want to do, and like I just started with 0 on all of them. And like you said, it's like I don't want to get a handout from someone. Like, you know, you see these people who did nothing in high school and then take over their dad's company.
And, you know, and it's like you want to, it's not fulfilling. You want to do something for yourself. And that's why everybody on Twitch starts from the same spot. And to have a community like yours, like, says something about you and your character and your values, because people wouldn't come back in if they didn't want to see you and talk to you and watch what you do.
I think it's definitely like the thing about Twitch, and a lot of people ask me that because they're like, oh, like, how did you get people, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, it's definitely about networking. And when I say that, I don't say it in like a business sense. I say it in like, it's important to, like, when you're not streaming, go, obviously you have to have a passion for it. Like, I love doing it, but go into new people's streams. Go on your recommended page, find streamers, say hi to them, talk to them a little bit, get to know people in their community. And don't go in there and be like, I stream too, because that's rude. But like, if you're spoken to and they're like, oh, like, how did you find me? Like, I have people that ask me and I'm like, oh, actually you were on my recommended page. And then someone clicks on my profile and then they'll be like, oh, you stream? And then I'm like, yeah. And then we have this conversation and then people from their community follow me and then I follow them. And then like we become friends and then we play together. And then it's kind of just like, it branches out into this bigger thing. So it's kind of like, you can't just go into it with the mindset, like, I'm going to go live on Twitch and I'm going to just build a community. Like, you have to kind of just like know people and put yourself out there. Like, it's very like, I don't know, because a lot of people are like, oh, you gained a lot of followers from Maddie, which yes, I have a lot of friends from Maddie's community, but I've been watching Maddie for like 2+ years and I've been making relationships in her chat. So it's like, if people didn't want to click on my stream, they don't have to.
No,
it's definitely
and I think
about,
it's the
like,
same for me. Like,
yeah.
I didn't have any idea that I wanted to stream on Twitch when I watched you and Maddie. And I'll let you finish. I just want to not forget this thought, but I was in your chat genuinely, like, and the same thing for you. You were in Maddie's chat, just genuinely wanting to watch and building relationships that when you did start, those people already knew that about you and they came over. And like, that's what, when I started watching you, I didn't even know, like, I didn't even want to do Twitch. I didn't even ever think I was going to stream, and built those relationships, networking in a sense where it's not business. Like you said, it's actually building relationships. And then it just was how it started, from just watching you and then having people come in. It's the same thing for you looking into Maddie's. It's not that you were doing what you were saying to do, like how you had your first viewers. It was just more so like you built friendships and they came and stopped by.
Exactly. And it's not like I ever asked Maddie, like, hey, post my channel, hey, raid me. Like, that, none of that ever happened. It was just, I was in her chat. I think she's only rated me one time, which I'm so grateful for. But I get a lot of people that like make comments about that. And I'm like, the first, I think, month that I was streaming, when I wasn't live, I was on Twitch interacting with other streamers in other chats, on Discord. Like, it's all about like building those relationships, and people are going to want to come back if they know you. It's as simple as like, you're talking to someone, they come into your chat the next day and you're like, hey, how'd your test go?
Yeah. Oh, you like, remembered me?
Oh.
Wow. Yeah.
Or like, I have people that haven't been in my stream since like the second month that I streamed. And I'm like, oh my God, welcome back. And they're like, you remember? I'm like, well, yeah. And it's like, people are going to come back for you and the relationship and the personality and like the whole package. They're not going to come back for you. Because it's like, Ninja could be streaming and he could raid somebody, but not all 20,000 people are going to stay on that person's stream.
Raids don't do anything. It's a nice thing from the streamer to do that, but they don't build your community in the sense, unless that streamer is almost identical, which can happen, like in the sense of personality and what they do and what they play, almost identical to that other streamer, or else it won't really mean, you might gain 20 followers if you've got 1,000 people raid. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I think it's so important for people to realize that. Like, people are like, oh my God, I want to get raided by this person, I want to do that. But I'm like, sure, they can put that in front of you, but it's what you do with it. Like, you have to do something with all of those people. Like, if I got raided by Ninja and then I'm just sitting there like this, like not doing anything, not talking, all of those people are going to leave. They're going to click off my channel. Like, you have to create that like impact, and you have to break down the barrier that it's not just like streamer viewer. It's, oh, okay, there's something else going on here. She's treating me like an actual person. She's saying hi to me. She's interacting with me. She's remembering things and like all of this stuff. So it's like, I feel like people just kind of get lost in the whole number thing, and they definitely forget like people aren't going to come back because they followed you. The follow doesn't mean anything. Like you said, it's just a button. And it definitely is like, for some people, yes, they come back, but that's not like a follower to me. That's just like a friend. And it's kind of just like, I have so many people that follow my channel and then I don't see their name ever again and they never come back. And so it's kind of just like, you get that follow, but it's what you do with the follow. You definitely have to like create some sort of relationship with that person. And obviously when I say that, I don't want people to take it out of context. Like, you don't have to like text them every single day and be like, hey, like, how's your mom and stuff like that. But it's definitely just like showing them that you care. And obviously it's if you do care, which in my setting and in your setting, we care. But it's like, you get so many people that like, you go in there and like, I've been in streams when I've said hi and like no one says anything. And then I'm like, oh. And then like, I'll try again. Like, I'll be like, how's the game going or something like that. And then they just won't say anything. And I'm like, oh, okay. So
and,
then I just
and it's in a sense where it's almost like, you know, maybe they're, and this can go on my end too. I've done the same exact thing. And I'm like, okay, I'll try again. Maybe they just didn't see it. You'll see them look over and you're like, okay, you're like, you might be a great person. It's just not the community that I want to be in. And that goes with, you're not Ninja. You're not Dr. Lupo. You're not this person. You're you. People won't come back. It's them clicking on your channel when you're live. It's their choice, not yours. You show up, it's if they want to come. And that's why people, like, I'm saying, like, you're saying, you're like, people, I'm sure it annoys the shit out of you that people are like, oh, you probably got some of your viewers from Maddie. No. They don't have to come to me. She didn't force them, pay them money to come view me. I am just here. If you want to come, welcome. You're always welcome. But don't discredit you, like I'm saying this in your sense, don't discredit your work, because if I didn't want to watch you, I wouldn't. If you didn't want to watch me, you wouldn't. It's just, so for people to make comments like that, it's ridiculous, because everybody starts from one place. And
exactly. And like, I love her and I'm so thankful for like her and like the fact that like I started watching her and now I have a friendship with her, and she's just such like an amazing, like genuine, awesome person. And there's a reason she's so successsucking She kills it at everything she does. But it definitely gets hard, and I'm becoming friends with a lot more people that do have a following, especially like recently. And so it's hard when I have a lot of people that come into my channel and they're like expecting me to always be playing with that person, or like expecting that person to always be in my chat, or expecting like that person to start playing with me. And like, if they're not playing with me, are we still friends? Like, am I not worthy to play with that? Like, it just becomes this whole thing. And I'm just like, guys, it's really not that serious. Like, we're friends and we have a really good relationship. And it just so happens that we're both streamers. Like, it's not like I'm not trying to steal anything from that person. Nothing's malicious. Nothing's like that. And like, Maddie's got way more followers than I do. And like, my friend Landon, who's awesome. He's the owner of Carnage. One of the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life. He's got his own thing going on that he's been doing for 10 years. Like, I'm not even in the same realm as these people. And it's like, but we're just friends, and we built a friendship, we built a relationship. And I feel like that's hard for people to understand, because it's like, they just see like the number side of it and they're like, oh, like you're just using them, or, oh, you're trying to get something out of them. And I'm like, that's really not the case. Honestly, if people think that, I would stop streaming tomorrow. Like,
but it's also the same thing with Landon. Like, I've seen him in a chat. I found him through you.
Love him.
I didn't find him on his own, which more people would think that. I found him through you, and I bet you people say the same thing to him. Last night you mentioned, I was in your stream, he mentioned that I think you said they're almost at 1 million, or surpassed 1 million on YouTube.
Almost, yeah.
For 10 years for him to do that, people probably come in on one day and see this guy build something. They have no idea what went behind the scenes. He built this up. They're probably like, why can't I get famous like him? No. He worked for this for 10 years. You don't know anything.
So hard. Yeah. Literally one of the hardest people, like the hardest working people I've ever met in my entire life. And it's funny because we've gotten super close, and I'm talking to him pretty much all throughout the day. And whether that's like me helping him like play games, he just needs someone to like keep him busy type of thing. But like, if he's not streaming, he's editing a video. If he's not editing a video, he's working on recording a video. If he's not recording a video, he's sitting in front of his computer and he's writing a whole script. Like, he is going all hours of the day. And I don't think people realize that, because they just see like what they see when you turn on the camera and they're like, oh, like
they see the numbers,
streaming.
yeah.
But I'm like, the other night I was up with Landon until he was up till 6 a.m. Like just working and editing a video and posting it and making thumbnails and doing all this stuff because that's how hard of a worker he is. And I think people are just like expecting to get the numbers that these people get without putting in the work, which is
and being genuinely, they see the number, they're like, I want that. He's working that long because he loves it. That's why he's successful. Find something you love and do it. Don't just assume that this person got views because of this. No, they got views because they love what they do. They put so much content, so much time, so much energy and passion into it. That's if not the only reason, the main reason that they are successful.
And you're not going to get those views and numbers by being friends with somebody. That's not how it works. So I think people kind of like discredit like the hard work that we put into, like you and I as small streamers. And like it's kind of like, it's not like, I don't know. I don't think I'll ever consider myself a big streamer until I'm partnered on Twitch or whatever.
But I look at you as a big streamer, which is funny because you don't think about that. I look at you in a sense where you're a big streamer to me.
Cause like I don't know. I don't see myself as that, and not that I don't think I can get there one day, but it's just like I feel like it's kind of like degrading and definitely discrediting when people are just like, oh, like you're just where you at because of whoever it may be. And it's like, okay, at the end of the day, that is kind of how life works. Like it is about people, but it's what you do with it. And so
I wouldn't have had 3 viewers in my first chat if it wasn't for you. People could say the same thing. I feel like with anybody, everybody could use help. And you wouldn't help me if you weren't interested. If Maddie helps you, she wouldn't help you if she wasn't. Yeah, if she wasn't genuinely, if she didn't like you as a person. So it's
like I never expect anything from Maddie. I don't expect anything from Landon. I don't expect anything from Joseph. I don't expect anything from these people except friendship. That's all I want.
And that always comes first. Yeah, that always comes first. And if other things come, people might say, oh, this and that, but the friendship was first. And then this happened. So, and it's funny because if you don't say you didn't play with Landon this day, oh my God, are you guys still friends? But you didn't know we talked all day, but we're still friends. Like, it's so hard to assume over the internet. So at least, that's why I like this podcast, because people can see you more than just if they found your stream yesterday, or even like if they found your stream in April, maybe they learned something that they didn't know about you, whether how you started or anything. Yeah. So I could also talk, I'm going to see what else we can, I want to go into a little bit more about your life outside of Twitch. Like, I feel like that people might not know about you. That's why I wanted to jump into this section. Like, I have a couple questions. So, I first want to start, like, you can explain what you do. If you didn't stream today or do this podcast, what do you do in a day? So.
Okay, so actually, I feel like a lot of people do know that I work with children. I make it very, very well known throughout my channel. I am a child and adolescent development major. I was going to school. For that, I graduated. I wanted to start my master's, but with COVID, I'm not an online learner. That's not me. I do a lot of stuff online, but I can't learn. And so I definitely, I took one class this past semester, but I think I'm going to take a little break until things go back to normal. But I feel like a lot of people don't know. Like, I work with kids. People know that. I taught preschool. People know that. That's like my big thing. If I wasn't doing Twitch, I would definitely still be working with kids. I mean, I do. I'm a nanny. So, like, that's what I do when I'm not streaming. I'm definitely still always around kids, I feel like. I don't know. It's funny because it's like I do interact with children on Twitch sometimes. And it's kind of like, I feel like I'm getting my hours in for my master's program because people are like, oh, like, you still kind of are with kids. And I'm like, that's kind of true. Like, I am getting all of this insightful information and like seeing all of these different scenarios kind of play out, which is kind of cool. But I do nanny, and I love that. I love nannying. I nanny Monday through Friday, which is like the best thing ever. I was teaching preschool, but like my school shut down due to COVID, so it was kind of like a whole mess. But I don't know. I feel like working with children doesn't really like you were saying, like how soccer was like your identity. I feel like that's not like, I don't know. It's weird because it's like, I know the type of person I am, but I feel like I don't like identify myself with something anymore. Even with Twitch, like I love Twitch to death, but I don't like identify myself with Twitch. It's kind of just like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's like, almost in a sense make it simple. Like, you're good at working with kids. Like, I'm a soccer trainer, and I work with kids. All the kids that I train are like, I mean, I've trained people who are older than me, which was weird in a sense, but it was fine. But majority on a day-to-day, I'm with kids, and it's almost like on Twitch, if so many kids are on the internet, right? More so than older people, because they are growing up with the internet, they get it. If they're coming in your chat, or in a sense, they're lucky they found your channel, because they could go find horrific things on the internet. They could go onto TikTok, log in, see a comment. It's horrible. So they're almost in a sense where I'm glad that there's so many kids on Twitch, because as long as you're a positive, insightful person, and they come back because they look up to you, you give them advice. I told you that the first second I came into your chat, you're giving advice. They're grateful that they found you, and especially that you work with kids. I feel like it's just, if a kid does come in your chat and ask you a question, thank God you know how to handle it, because they're so young.
I feel like a lot of people try to avoid that too. Like, when people come in and they're asking for advice, like, don't be afraid to give it to them. I feel like a lot of people are like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to be walking on eggshells. But it's kind of like, this is real life, and these things need to be talked about. And so, like,
and somebody else in chat might have the same exact question and is scared to answer it.
Exactly. And it's like, they don't necessarily have to agree with what I'm saying, but I'm giving them my personal opinion and my advice. And so it's like, also it builds like room for conversation. So it's like other people dive into the chat and they were like, oh, well, going off of what Rosie said, you could also do this. And it's like, I feel like a lot of people try to avoid those things just because they are touchy subjects. And to a certain extent, like, I don't talk about everything, but it's like, you kind of, because when I was teaching preschool, like, parents baby their children, and so it's like, you can't do that. Like, they're kids, they're tiny humans, they're so smart, they literally are smarter than anybody realizes. And so it's like, when you're kind of telling a kid, like, don't do that, or like, you don't know how to do that, they know what they're doing. Even at 3 years old, they know what they're doing. And so it's like, when you have someone come into my chat who's 13, they're smart, like, they know what's going on. They just kind of need some advice. And so it's like, when they're coming to you and they're asking you these questions, I've seen some people like just instantly ban people like that. And I'm like, it's the real world. Like, you kind of have to realize, like, these are real conversations that people need to have. And it's like, obviously, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to do it. But me being someone who studies this and has some life experience, I mean, I'm only 22, but it's like, I studied this for years, and like, I put a lot of effort and like pride into my work, and I know a sense of what happens development wise. So it's like, I like answering questions like this because they want help, and it's like, half the time they're just scared to ask their parents. Because
they're going back into
their parents, and it's like, they have these conversations, and then the parents like stem it into something else, and they're like, no, like, I literally was just asking a question.
Yeah, and that goes into where you said, like, it's not your identity. It's almost like not even like a purpose. It could be your purpose, like, but it's something that you're good at and you enjoy it. It doesn't have to be your identity. That's how I felt like with soccer. I felt like my whole life revolved around soccer, and thankfully I realized that nothing is your identity. You make whatever you want to make yourself. You do whatever you want to do. Like, Twitch is the most different thing I've ever done in my life. So was that past of my life, soccer and school, my identity? No, Twitch is not my identity. It's just, you do whatever you're passionate about, and hopefully, it ends up being something that interests you and that you're good at. And so it's not anything where, like, I get what you're saying, it's not your identity, but you work with kids, you're good at it. Thank God we need people like that, because these kids go on the freaking internet and they could see whatever they want.
And that's why it's kind of like, I don't call myself family friendly, I just call myself real. Like, at the end of the day, a kid can go anywhere and they can see someone saying shit. Like, people are gonna cuss, like, it's gonna happen. And so it's like, obviously I'm not sitting there doing OnlyFans content, because obviously that's not allowed, but it's like, not that I would ever be that person, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not putting awful content out and like explicit content on my Twitch channel, but I'm just being real. Like, if a kid comes in, I'm not gonna like watch what I say, and I'm not gonna like not cuss, and I'm not gonna pretend like these things aren't real, because it's like, regardless, it's probably happening at home, they're probably seeing it on another social media platform, so it's just how you handle the situation. Like, be real about it. Like,
family friendly in the sense where, like, many people might have a different version of family friendly.
People do.
Yeah, so there's so much things, and I think, and we could go into this about, this is something else I wanted to ask you. Yeah. I felt like when I started Twitch, I looked at everybody else, and I'm like, okay, what can I do from them? What can I do for them? Which, in a sense, is good. Like, I could look at, you know, someone's like community that's like, I forgot who I used to watch. I watched it for like a second. I didn't like watch them continuously. Like, super toxic. That's how they wanted their thing to be. Like, you have, like, if someone wants to do an OnlyFans, like, you do you. That's not what I do. Right. No disrespect, and you didn't mean that either. In a sense where, though, it's, you know, it's not allowed on Twitch, and I'm not gonna walk over the lines, but that's not the community that I want to build, where someone's gonna come in and just talk about my appearance. That's not what I want. And I think so. I would watch people and I'm like, okay, what do they do that's good? What do they do? And then almost, I took it too much in a sense where I was trying to make my first Twitch stream perfect, which it never will ever be perfect. Yeah. And then you're looking at people and I'm like, okay, I was watching Maddie, who, you know, she says that she's family friendly, but people might be like, okay, so does she not say anything? No, she's just real. And that's what she means by that. And I was like, okay, oh my gosh, should I not curse? Should I not do this? And I'm like, on a day to day, I do curse, and I'm just going to be myself. Yeah.
Well, and it slips out sometimes too, which I think, like, I don't want to say I'm family friendly and then I scream and God knows what comes out of my mouth, and then people are like, you know, so it's just like, you're just real. I mean, they're words at the end of the day. 99.9% of people say them, it's gonna happen. So it's
like I said, like, any kid would be grateful to have viewed your channel for advice, because they can, there goes my camera, they could see whatever they want. But like, I guess would ask, like, where do you see, you might not have an answer, because I know I don't have for myself, but like, what are you working towards where you would want to see yourself in like 5-10 years? Like, what do you, like, right now, if you were like, I want to do this like, that you're working towards, what would you definitely want to do in life?
So I feel like something that a lot of people don't know about me is I do have a chronic illness. I have endometriosis. So guys are not going to know what that is. Yeah. I'll keep it very simple. It's kind of just like, there is a very high chance that I can't have children. As of right now, I'm very healthy, and my doctors say that I'm fine because we caught my diagnosis very young. I got diagnosed when I was 19. And so that's hard. A lot of people don't realize how much pain I'm kind of in on a day-to-day basis. Some days I can't get out of bed. Some days I'm totally fine. It kind of just like varies. I'm on medication for it, obviously, but it's kind of just like, it varies. My days are different. Some days I feel like absolute shit, and then some days I'm like the happiest person ever. But a big goal of mine is I just want to be a mom. And like, I feel like a lot of people don't really sit down and think about like something like that, because they're like, oh, well, everyone can be a mom. But it's like to an extent, yes, but it's like, I want to be able to have my own children. And I feel like a lot of people take that for granted, especially like kids who are going to be watching us. They probably didn't even think about something that small, like, oh, like some people can't have children, or there's difficulties when it comes to having children. Like, none of my pregnancies are ever going to be a surprise. They're definitely going to have to be planned. And so people ask me that all the time. They're like, where do you see yourself in a couple years? I'm like, honestly, like, I just want to be a mom. And people laugh at that and they think that's so silly, but I'm like, for me, like, that's something that might not even be like a possibility. So like, ever since I was little, like, I wanted to be a teacher, but people would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said I would want to be a mom. Yeah. Like, I have it written on like one of those preschool papers, like, what do you want to be when you're older? And I wrote mom, and it's like a little picture of a stick figure like holding a baby. And it's like, a lot of people don't know that about me. I kind of don't really like, I talk about it sometimes. I've talked about it on stream, and I think I've like tweeted about it a couple times. I've had a lot of girls like ask me about it because they're like, I think I might have it, and I'm kind of scared. There's nothing scary about it. The only thing is, it's just like, it's not curable. It's kind of just like a thing, and it's painful, and it happens until you have the surgery to get rid of it. But I won't get into it too much, just because you probably are going to have guys listening to this and they're not going to care about.
They have no idea.
Yeah, they have no idea.
But it's in a sense where like people, and especially the internet, like someone could look at it and be like, you want to be a mom? Like that's such a weird thing to say. No, it's not. And especially if you have a challenge, like I have a best friend who has PCOS, and I know that affects it. I know it's milder in that sense for the future of having kids, but essentially, like, if you've thought about that before you even knew that you had that, when you're young, writing on a piece of paper, you want to be a mom, and then you find out that you have a challenge of a dream that you had when you didn't even know that things could affect that, and it's almost like you do have to work toward it. It's a challenge in life, and I've always wanted to do that, and now there's an obstacle that people who do want to be a mom, and they've always wanted to be a mom, they could just go do it. It's different for you in a sense where you've always wanted to do it. You want to have a family. You live life off of relationships and friendships, and what's better of a friendship than having a child? So that's, if some people don't know that about you, I look at you as like if you had a kid, you'd be the best mom, in a sense where you're so caring, like you care for everybody so genuinely. And I think that's why when you were younger, you definitely were like, I want to be a mom. I'd be a great mom. I knew it since then. And it would be a hard thing in the future if you weren't able to have kids, and it's a challenge that you have to work towards.
I mean, regardless, I think I'm going to be okay. I think if this situation, I mean, obviously it happens to millions of women, but I think it's funny, like the day I got diagnosed with it, my mom was like, this couldn't have happened to a better person. And she was like, and I say that in the sense, like, we had a whole conversation, because obviously, like, I cried, and it's not something you want to hear, like, as a woman and like stuff like that, but like my mom and I were sitting there and I was talking about it, and she was just like, if anything, she's like, regardless if like it's natural, if it's injected, if you adopt, regardless, she's like, you are going to be the best mother to that child. And I kind of was like sitting there and I was just like, okay, like it's going to happen. I thankfully, like I said, I caught it very young. And so like they were able to treat it, and like I have surgery every 2 years, and it's like this whole thing. But it's true. I'm very fortunate that it happened to me and not somebody else that probably couldn't handle it under the circumstances. Like all throughout, since 8th grade, I've been in and out of the hospital, and they've been trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Like I've been everywhere with like kidney stones, stomach ulcers, gallbladder problems, appendicitis, like 5 times. Like they would literally just try to like figure out what it was. Thousands of ultrasounds, tons of MRIs, like all this stuff. And then finally, for people that don't know, with endometriosis, you can only get diagnosed by surgery. So eventually, towards the end, they were like, we're just going to cut you open and look around and see what's going on with you. Because I was in pain all the time. I was fainting. I wasn't gaining weight. And like, I ate a lot. Like, I never starved myself, nothing like that. I wasn't gaining weight. I was a very active person. It was just like, I was so always in pain. So then when they had the surgery, they found the endometriosis tissue, and they were like, okay, well, you have endometriosis. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense, because it's like, that's something that you can't see on an ultrasound or see on an MRI or see on a CAT. Like you can't see it. You have to go in and see the body. So it's like, definitely when all of that was going on, it was super overwhelming, because it's like, I missed a lot of things in high school, and I didn't get to like experience a whole part of like my life. Like I didn't get to go to like dances until my senior year and like stuff like that until I was like on medication. They found out what was wrong with me when I was 19. So like I was already out of high school. I was in relationship, and it was hard. It was definitely because like I didn't feel good, and then he would get mad, and like it would turn into this whole thing, and it led to a lot of issues. So like I was just like, my whole life, am I just never going to be able to like satisfy anybody, like satisfy myself? Is it always just going to be this issue where like I'm in pain all the time and not able to get out of bed? And thankfully that's not the case anymore. Thankfully I'm now diagnosed, and
and it's like you don't want to hear that, but you were so many years you didn't know what it was. It's almost like someone says, oh, you have this, you're like, oh, thank God, like yay. And it's not a good thing, but we finally figured it out. We could treat it.
That's why I think people like laugh when I say like I want to be a mom, and I'm like, you don't understand like how much I've been through like my whole life trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with me. And then like now that I know that like I'm in a position, like I'm lucky, like some girls get diagnosed and then they're like, I'm sorry, like you can't have children, like it's too bad. And then they're like that's probably a hard conversation, but thankfully for me, they were like, this is a possibility, like we're not going to sugarcoat it, but I still have like over an 80% chance, which is huge. Like that's huge. There's obviously still a chance that it'll be issued and difficult and hard and all of that stuff, but that's just something I'm kind of prepared for at this point. But I feel like a lot of people don't really know that about me. I feel like not that a lot of my viewers are male, but I feel like the gaming community in general is more male dominated. So I feel like I don't talk about it that much just because guys don't want to hear that. Guys don't care. They literally can't experience it. So it's like they don't.
Yeah, it's hard to relate to. And even like it's, you know, it happens to millions of people and millions of people have it. But in a sense where you're in such a small platform where you could talk about it. And it's like, well, I'm not sure if anybody either just doesn't get it or do they even care? And you like go back and forth. But it's, you go on Twitch and you play video games, but that might be this much of your life, but having endometriosis might be this all these years and nobody knows because it's, you know, you're on
and
you're
it's
on the
not that
internet.
like I don't want to talk about it. Like when people ask me, I'm so about it, but it's just like it's such a very big, complicated illness, and like I feel like there's so much, like if people want to know more about it, you can definitely Google it. But like, I remember when I first got diagnosed, like I didn't even know what it was. Like I had to watch YouTube videos and I was like reading a bunch of stuff on the internet and like trying to like educate myself because I'm like, okay, I'm going to be living with this type of thing. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't know because I don't really talk about it. I don't complain. Like if I'm ever in pain, it's not like I'm tweeting like I'm dying in my bed. Like I don't, it's kind of just like, cause I've been doing it for so long that it's just like, oh, I wake up, I'm in
It's a
pain
part of your
today.
life that, but people think, you know, they see you on Twitch. Okay, your life in their eyes is when you're on Twitch, not what is outside of Twitch. And that just, it's not like a thing that people might not realize. It's like sometimes you watch a Twitch streamer that they might be so different in real life than on Twitch. So in a sense, it's like that's why I like this platform again for a podcast, because if somebody's watching this that they don't know that, you know, they might either you can help them or they can help you, and maybe they have someone in their family or even themselves that go through that. You guys can talk about it, you know.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it's definitely like, I don't know, I'm like I said, I think I was like, if it was gonna happen to anyone, I'm happy it happened to me, just because I feel like I have a pretty good mindset on it, and like it's my life. Like I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna cry about it and I'm not gonna complain. Like I need to do something about it, and I can't just pretend like it's not real. Like it's real. It's my life. So it's like you either grab it by the horns and just live your life, or like you can sit there and wallow, but it's like I'm not gonna do that. But it's like, yeah, I'm live, and then as soon as I turn the camera off, when I'm not streaming and I'm not at work, I'm laying in bed. And that's not because I'm lazy, but it's just because I'm in pain. And I feel like a lot of people don't know that. I feel like, well, also we're kind of in the middle of a pandemic, so I can't really go out and do anything, but like a lot of people don't know, like half the time, like my friends are going out to dinner, they have to bring me my dinner to go, because like I can't go to dinner. Like I have to lay in bed because like I don't feel good, like I'm in pain. And I feel like when people think like, oh, she's like in pain, it's just like a stomach ache, like I don't think people realize the extent of it. Like there's been times where I've literally had to be carried to the bathroom to go pee because I couldn't get up and walk. Like it gets bad sometimes. So it definitely has gotten a lot better since I now know what it is. I mean, it's been 2 years now. So I got diagnosed in February 2018. So it's been 2 years now, but I don't know.
I remember I was in a stream where you were talking about it, and I didn't know that at the time. But obviously now, telling the extent to me, I didn't even know the extent of your life, and that's why I'm glad that not only someone watching this or me hosting this, that I get to know that about you, because everybody has their struggles, and people could say their struggles are different than somebody else's struggles, and like in a sense where I can relate. In high school, I missed graduation, prom, senior trip because of soccer. Obviously I didn't have an illness, and I wasn't in physical pain,
still,
but
like that's a big part of
people
your life.
everybody has their own struggles, and I think people like judge people off their struggles or even their dreams. Like you're saying you want to be a mom, there's maybe you like who knows about whether whatever's in the world, where when you were younger you said you wanted to be a mom because somewhere in life you knew that this was going to happen, where it was going to be a struggle. It has to make sense somewhere. I don't know where.
It's so weird because like we talk about it all the time, my mom and I, and she's like, that's so crazy. Like it's kind of just like, my mom obviously like thinks it's going to happen. Like she thinks me putting down mom on a piece of paper with the baby and like all of that stuff was like foreshadowing that I was going to have struggles, but eventually I will be fine and I will be a mom. So I was like, I don't know. It's weird because it's like
I think everything happens.
Yeah.
That's the only quote I like live by. I think everything happens. You make a decision. I ate cereal today or waffles. One of them is going to affect something somehow. Something simple.
Yeah.
So like everything is meant to happen. But I said, like, I'm glad that people get to know that, because if I didn't know that and somebody had asked me, like, you know, what do you think Rosie would be great at? I'd be like, I think she'd be a great mom. If I was younger, I would want to have her as my mom. She'd be a great mom. That's why I think that it's not your identity of being a mom. It's just your passion, your dream. Like, I want to be a mom one day. I might. Who knows if maybe one day I have endometriosis. Nobody knows. It's no
one knows. Yeah,
you never know. Yeah,
you never know what's gonna happen. You never know what life's gonna throw at you. And I think that's what's so important. And so that's why, like, people are like, when I say, like, I want to be a mom, I remember I had a conversation with, I think someone was like watching my stream and they asked me and I said that, or they messaged me off stream or something. I remember having a conversation and they were like, that's the dumbest thing ever. Like, why don't you have any goals for yourself on Twitch? And I'm like, no, like, I do. But I was like, Twitch isn't my whole life. And like, you can't always put all your eggs in one basket. And I told them, I was like, for me, it's important that I become a mom, become a wife, do my thing, have my family, and I just want to be able to support my family and be stable. Like, that's it. No matter what I'm doing. If I'm working at Starbucks, if I'm teaching, if I'm
they said, okay, I want to be a mom. Did I ever say I don't want to have a job? People are just like, oh, you're going to be a stay-at-home mom?
Me?
Like,
I just want to have a bunch of kids and never work.
Yeah, have no money.
Have no money, just in a big house like Sims, you know? Like, just keep.
That's what people think. Yeah, that's what people think. Just like Sims. Oh my God, we're always relating to video games.
Oh my God. But yeah, no, it's funny because a lot of people are always like, oh, like, I want to be rich and successful, or I want to be a big time streamer. And like, those are all amazing goals. Any goal that you have for yourself is an amazing goal. Like, don't let anybody tell you differently. And I was talking to someone about this last night, actually, because it's like, you set goals for yourself. And if you complete those goals and you achieve them and you do them to the best of your ability, that should be enough for you. Mm-hmm. And once you start thinking about other people, that's when it becomes a problem, because it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's not their life. It's not going to affect them. It's not going to make them happy. Regardless, they're always going to have something to say. But if they're supporting you and you're achieving everything you want and you're proud of yourself, that's all that matters.
100%.
That's what I was just trying to tell the person, and they got mad, and I was like,
and that's what we were talking about earlier. If you, like, the same thing with starting Twitch, which we'll get into our last question about Twitch. Yeah. But it's, if you don't start it or do it for the right reasons, you could start it for the right reasons and then find yourself lost in the wrong reasons and get 100%. Back out of it, or just not find interest in it anymore, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, I think I remember when I was younger, I watched, like, I don't know if you ever watched, like, I watch YouTube in the sense of my entertainment. I never watched, like, TV.
I always watch YouTube. Mm-hmm.
Like, Bethany Moda, she was like
loved her. I have her. I have her Hollister clothing line still. I have like 3 pieces from it in my closet.
I had her bedding from Aeropostale, or Aeropostale, however you say it. And I remember when she stopped YouTube, it was like our age group blew up. They were like, I can't believe she's not posting anymore, and like, maybe she lost interest.
Maybe
she didn't want to, she didn't want to do it anymore.
Who was it? It was some YouTuber. Maybe it was like Laura DIY or something. And she posted a TikTok and she was like, watch me grow out of like my family friendly phase. And I remember watching her like years ago. And she was so like, I don't know.
The back to school videos.
Yeah, it's all these girls. Like, it's literally her and Bethany Moda are like the 2 people that I kind of like put with my childhood. And it's like all these girls grow up in the spotlight and they feel like they have to make back to school videos and be family friendly, but then they turn 21 and they want to post a drinking video, and it's like the end of the fucking world. And I'm like,
and I feel like that's why Bethany Moda found herself. I'm talking about her because I just saw her. I don't know if it was like some news channel that was interviewing her, and I was like, holy shit, there she is again.
I know.
Like,
I haven't seen her.
And she was talking about just what you said, how she was in the spotlight, and she felt like she started YouTube just like everybody does, just posting a video, not having anybody watching, blew up. And now anything I say or do could go either way, and everybody will have something to say.
Yeah.
And that's why she said, she was talking about how she just didn't want to do it anymore, and people hated her for that. But if she would go post a video that they didn't like, they would hate her then for posting the video. So it's like you can't catch a break.
Forget too, especially like when kids are younger, they think like, why can't you stream every single day? And I'm like, honey, I have a job and like I have rent to pay and like I have bills that I have to pay. Like I know like some people still live at home and that's great. Like if I could still live at home, 10 out of 10. My parents just sold their house and they're moving. So it's like I don't want to move. And so I'm like, I'm living on my own and I'm paying rent and I pay car bills and insurance and phone, all this stuff. And I feel like a lot of people don't think about like what they don't see on camera, like we've been talking about this whole time. But I feel like with Bethany Moda and all those people, like eventually they want to get married and like have their family and do their, and like they can't, like being a mom is gonna be hard. Like do you think they're gonna want to pick up a vlog camera when they've been up for like 10 hours trying to feed a crying baby and trying
the
to
people
sleep
who they want her to be 15 again when she like started.
Exactly.
Now she's like, say she's 30. I know she's not 30, but like she might be. Say she's 30 and you watch and then people would be like, well, you're old now. Then they're like, well, why did you want me to come back anyway?
People like don't want to adapt. They just get stuck in the like the time of the hype and like they fall in love with that person, but they don't want to like grow with the person, fall in love with them throughout the journey, which is a real supporter. But it's like whatever, it's gonna happen, and it just sucks as someone like her who was so big and like started out so strong, and now it's kind of just like everything she says. Like you can't please everybody, like, with anything. So it's like if she wants to come back, she should, but she shouldn't feel forced to do it.
Yeah, but that's in the sense where like you could start something and then realize maybe this is not what I want to do, and that's totally fine.
Well, and that's the thing I have, especially with like majors. I've had so many friends change their majors. Hello, they do the whole thing. They literally. I had a friend back out. This year because we were supposed to graduate, and she literally last semester was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And she just did 4 years of school, and her last semester before we were about to graduate, she's like, I don't want to do it anymore. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what do you want to do? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, if anything, now's the perfect time. Like, we're in a pandemic.
Exactly.
Like, you're kind of stuck at home. I'm like, maybe you should take some time off and like figure it out.
And she might find something that doesn't have to do anything with school.
Yeah.
And I think in a sense where, I don't know, I guess I'm trying to think of like in a point where in my life where I know you go into college, you don't know what you want to do. How are you supposed to know out of high school? I didn't know. I was undecided for 2 years, decided to do sport management that had to do with marketing, and I might be doing something in the future that has nothing to do with my major. And I know that's a little bit different because like if you want to be a doctor or something like that, you have to
you're going to school.
You have to do certain specific things to become a doctor. There's a trail for that. But you're not in 10 years. It won't matter to you. If you were doing what you didn't want to do, you'll regret not going to school for another 2 years 100%. And finishing that other major that you decided. So it's never, I was almost doing this with Twitch. I was like, is it like, do I do it now? Is it too late? But like, no, it's freaking COVID. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm living at home with my mom right now and my stepdad, and it's the last thing that I want to do. I was supposed to have a job, but this is what I'm meant to do. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Whatever job I was supposed to have without COVID, I wasn't meant to have it because that's happened. And like, I'm moving back and forth, like from school on like winter break. I come home on the weekends. It's just like, oh my God, I only get so much money from school. Like all my friends are making money, but whatever you are now you're meant to be doing it. Like we said, everything happens for a reason. You're meant to be doing it. Do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
And if you fail, you fail. At least you tried. I said that with Twitch. If this podcast, like if I have a podcast one day and it fails, in a sense where maybe failing is different for everybody, but in my eyes, like if I didn't achieve goals or whatever, if I don't want to do it anymore, then it's fine. I tried it. At least, thank God I tried it. I'll regret not trying it.
Exactly. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people just kind of like I was saying earlier, put all their eggs in one basket and then just get discouraged when it doesn't work out. And so it's kind of
the
like
richest people in the world have multiple sources of income. Like give an example of like, okay, let's just stick with Twitch. Say someone does Twitch, YouTube, sponsorships. They don't have one form of income. They have Instagram. They have all these different forms of income that goes with things that have to do nothing to do with money. If you want to go play soccer and basketball and do Twitch and do this, try it. Don't focus on one thing if you're not fully happy with that one thing.
Yeah. I paid my whole way through college by myself, and at one point I was a full-time student and working 3 jobs.
It's crazy.
Like it's
crazy.
just sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get to where you want to be. And it's like, no, and that's the thing too. I feel like a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this myself, like no one is judging you for working those 3 jobs or doing what you have to do to get to where you want to be. The only one that's literally judging you is yourself. So it's like, if I was like sitting there, I think the only thing that was hard with me was like, I didn't have time for anything. Like I was just whatever, but I'm like sitting there and I'm like, okay, in 2 years when I graduate, this isn't going to matter.
No.
Like I'm working my butt off now to get to where I want to be in a couple years. And it's like, that's worth it to me. So I feel like it's kind of just like, you have to make those sacrifices at the end of the day with anything, whether it's streaming or school or your job or a sport or whatever. You have to make those sacrifices to do what you want to do. And it's like, if people don't understand that, then screw them.
You make sacrifice. I sacrificed sleeping in to go to a workout class today. Yeah. And then say vice versa. Tomorrow, say I don't go to a workout class and I sleep in, I sacrificed my like sleeping in for going to a workout class. Little things like that, you know? Every day you make decisions on what you want to do. Just do anything that makes you happy. And I know you can't do everything in high school and not everybody's happy. Doing schoolwork, learning online through COVID, like you said, I cannot stand learning online through COVID. Thank God this master's program has no exams. It's all podcast based, and that's why I'm so interested in it. If you asked me a year ago, I would have no idea how to make a podcast. I still don't know, and I'm just going to figure it out. That's how you do. You figure it out. That's how
you do it. Yeah, exactly.
And I guess for my last question before we get into the few questions that you have from your viewers for the question and answer segment, what advice would you give, and we were kind of just talking about it, but what advice would you give to someone, not only someone who maybe wants to stream on Twitch because this is what this is about, but wants to do anything in life that they're debating?
I feel like it's very important. Like I was saying earlier, like how I make like a list for everything. I kind of like to sit down and really like I'm saying, so like, let's just say you want to do Twitch. I would definitely, and this is just for like the general person, you're thinking about you want to do Twitch, you've seen other people streaming, this is something you want to do. I would sit down and really think like, okay, what do I want my channel to be about? What do I want my community to just kind of like, what do I want my stream to reflect? And like, do I want it to be funny? Do I want to play video games? Do I want it to be just chatting? Do I want it to be a podcast? Do I want to cook? Like, you can do anything on Twitch, and that's the cool thing. And so it's like, find what you want to do, find the premise of it, figure out how you can achieve all of your goals that you want to. Start small. I feel like a lot of people start very big, which I think is a very big issue, because someone asked me a question, so I'll kind of just like dive into it a little bit. You start with these big goals that are just like not unachievable. Eventually you can do that, but I feel like that's how people get easily discouraged, is because they set these huge goals right in the beginning, and then they feel like they can't do it because they're not hitting the numbers or hitting the things that they want to see. So I feel like it's very important to set realistic goals in the beginning, whether that may be like, oh, my first stream, I'm going to stream for 3 hours. And then you go from there. And it's definitely like taking it day by day too, I think is more important, because it's like, I feel like you get so caught up in the future and you're like, oh, okay, well, one day I'm going to be averaging like 50 viewers. So like, I have to think about like, how am I going to entertain these 50 people? And I feel like you start stressing yourself out at the time when you only have like 2 or 3 viewers, but you're thinking about 50, and then you start like overwhelming yourself. So I think it's just like very important to take it slow, take it day by day, set realistic goals, and kind of just have fun with it. Like, it's very like, you're live on the internet, so it's like, don't be afraid to mess up. Like, things are going to come out of your mouth on accident. Like, stuff's gonna fall behind you. You might trip over a cord. Like, don't be so hard on yourself type of thing. It's real life. Like, this happens. Like, if the camera wasn't on, I know if I push my chair out right now, I have a heated blanket on because I'm cold. And like, I trip over the cord all the time. Like, that's probably gonna happen when we're done here and I turn everything off. I'm gonna trip over the cord. And there's been plenty of times where I've gotten up and gone to the bathroom and like my chair has fallen over. Like, things are gonna happen. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. It's live. Like, you can't like predict. You might get a phone call and it might be like, hey, can you come pick me up? And you might have to end the stream. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. It's real life. Like,
and I feel like that's what people want to see.
Yeah. Because it's like, I feel like they set these unrealistic goals and then like they get a phone call from their mom and they're like, hey, can you come pick me up? And they're like, I can't, I'm streaming. But then it's like, you're missing out on one opportunity to spend time with your mom. What if she needed your help? Like, but then you're like, no, I have to stream. Like, I have to stream to these people. Like, I have to, I want to get big. Like, I want to do all this stuff. And someone was talking to me about that last night and they were like, I'm not streaming daily. I'm disappointing everybody. And I'm like, you don't have to stream daily to get to where you want to be. And I'm like, that's not even realistic for somebody who isn't a full-time content creator. Like, you are gonna eventually have to go to work, have to go to school. Like, yes, we're in a pandemic, so it's kind of like a weird situation right now for some people because everything's through home, unless you're going out to work. But I feel like it's very difficult to say, like, I'm gonna stream every single day. If you're able to do that, fantastic. But it's also, burnout is a real thing, regardless of what you do. When I taught preschool, holy, I was coming home on Friday nights after my Monday through Friday teaching, and I was exhausted. And it's like, you need to take that time for yourself mentally, whether it's like you're journaling, you're reading a book, you're even just sitting on the couch watching Netflix. Like, you need to create that balance, otherwise you're going to get so overwhelmed and it's just not going to be enjoyable for you, and you're going to start thinking of it as a job, and you're going to be like, oh, I have to stream. Like, it shouldn't be like that. You should want to turn on your camera and be like, oh my god, I want to play Fortnite, or I want to play Warzone, or I want to play something. Might as well stream it. It'll be a fun time. Like, it has to be like you want to do it, not like, oh, I have to get my daily stream in today.
And I think with exactly what you said, like, Twitch is on your time. You do it when you want to, and people will come. If they can't come that day, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
And I think also, you were talking about achievable goals, and I remember we used to work with this leadership coach at my old university for soccer. And I think they were called like SMART goals, and it was an acronym. So S meant something, and I just remember A was achievable, and then something had to do with numerical. So like you said, you literally hit it on the dot right before I was going to say it. You said, okay, today I want to stream for 3 hours. Okay, that's achievable. That's in your control, and that's numerical. You have a time, or like one day you want to hit 25 followers. Like, I remember, I've only been streaming for a month, but I had little goals for myself, and I'm glad that I started off small, because I didn't think this, like, I would even have like any viewers in my chat, and it's almost like I never even believed in manifestation. I was like so not into that, and I don't know too much about it, but I just said, maybe this isn't manifestation, but I was like, I want to stream on Twitch and I'll enjoy it. And it's because I want to do it. And manifestation is something that if you want to do it, just try it. Exactly. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you love it, you have a choice. It's your life. You only live one time.
Yeah.
You'll regret it.
No one's forcing you to press the live button. So it's like, sit there, take your time, like, don't just like, I don't know. I have a lot of people that tell me they get overwhelmed because they just like get so nervous that they just sit in front of the camera and they just press live. Because they're like, if I don't do that, I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, okay, but it's like, not that like Twitch can be draining, but sometimes, like I was saying, everything has burnout. Like, you overwork
being an athlete. At one point, I was scared I was going to burn out of soccer. I was doing it so much I didn't want to do it anymore. Multiple times in my life.
You just have to be in that right mindset that you're doing it for you and you're not doing it for other people. Because it's like, at the end of the day, like we've been saying this whole time, like, you cannot please everybody. So it's like, if you're going to sit there and you're going to stream, you're doing it because you want to stream and it makes you happy, not because like you feel like people are relying on you. Because that's the thing, we get so caught up in our mind, like in our head, that we're like, I have to do this for all of these people, they're counting on me. But when in reality, people are very understanding. Like, if I can't stream one day and I tweet like, hey guys, I'm sorry, like, I'm just not feeling well, I get so many messages of people commenting on my tweet telling me like, feel better, take all the time you need. I get messages of people checking up on me, making sure I'm drinking water, like just cute stuff. And it's like, people understand, but you have to communicate too. So I think that's like my last thing, like when starting Twitch, don't sugarcoat anything, just communicate, be a person, like be real. Like we've been talking about this whole time. Like, if you're tired, tell people you're tired. Because if you sit there and you're exhausted and you turn on the camera, people are going to see it on your face. And it's not going to be enjoyable for you, and it's not going to be enjoyable for the people watching. So it's take care of yourself is like the main thing. Do everything for you. Don't do it for the other people. They'll come no matter what.
Yeah,
it's you.
And that goes with in anything. If you're not even thinking about starting Twitch, but you're worried about either starting a sport or joining a club, if you want to do it, try it.
Yeah,
just try it. If you like it, keep doing it. If you want to set goals, try to hit those goals. Do whatever you can that is enjoyable to yourself to hit those goals. Make friends, have support. I would say, like, and it goes in Twitch, like, I see people talk about how when they switch, say bigger streamers, they switch to a different game and they lose viewers. Well, you know what? They weren't there for the right reasons. They weren't there for you. Exactly. They were there for the game and your gameplay. Yeah. They weren't there for you as a person. And that's totally fine. They can go watch somebody else. But people who actually support you will stick with you just like in real life. If you like, just like family, friends who support you and you know that they're genuinely there, they'll be there for you. And you have to be there for yourself first. So if you want to do it, it's for you. And then other people, you don't need reassurance from other people. You need reassurance from yourself, self-confidence. People will see that in you and they'll enjoy their time there. If you're miserable doing it, if you're just doing it for the money, people will see that. It's so easy to see.
Exactly.
It's
and
so
that's
easy.
The thing too, like, you just need to be genuine and be you, because it's like, regardless, it's going to show on camera, whether you're like, especially if you're trying to hide it, like, it comes out regardless. If you're trying to be somebody that you're not, you'll snap one day. It all comes out. So just be you. You don't even have to have a face cam. I know I have so many friends that are very successful streamers that have never showed their face. Like, don't put all of this pressure on yourself and don't compare yourself to other people, because it's like, at the end of the day, like, every day is different going into Twitch. Some days you're going to have the most viewers you've ever had. Some days you're going to have the least amount of viewers. Some days you're going to get 100 followers. Some days you're going to get 5. Like, it happens. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. So. Exactly.
But all right, so we talked about a lot today. We talked about everything about you, about Twitch, advice, everything. But what I'm most excited for, and I'm gonna try to make this a segment for anybody that ever comes onto this podcast, or if I'm doing it solo, I want to bring in what is essentially makes your channel, your viewers, your supporters, people who are your friends on this channel that you've built relationships with on this channel. I asked you to ask them questions, and I know a lot of them probably had many questions that were very similar to what we were asking, because I'm sure that's what people wanted to know. That's what I came up with. But we're going to bring in a question and answer segment where her viewers are going to come in and ask her some questions, whether they wanted to be anonymous or not. We're just going to say the questions that were on there. So did you get any questions from your viewers?
I did. So a lot of the stuff we've kind of already touched on, so I'm just going to pick the ones that we haven't said anything about. So the first one that's on here is someone asked me, they said, sorry, this isn't really a question, but could you give tips on not getting discouraged when having a low view count? So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I wanted to specifically talk about this because I get a lot of questions about this. I recently just did my first 12-hour stream, which was huge, and it was probably the most fun thing I've done so far in my Twitch career. But I managed to get one of my highest view counts ever during that Twitch stream. I think I had like 100 people at one point.
That's amazing.
And so it was huge. And I had people that obviously have been watching me for a while come in and see a big number on the screen, and they're like, who rated you? And I'm like, no one. And then I'm like sitting there like kind of getting not like uncomfortable, but you know what I mean. And so I'm like, no one. And then they messaged me after and they're like, hey Rosie, like, can I talk to you about something? And I'm like, yeah. And they were like, I've been really discouraged about like my view count, and then like I saw your stream today and it like kind of made me sad. And they were like, happy for you, but like I'm kind of sad. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, let's talk about it. And so we're having this conversation, and honestly I was just telling them, I'm like, the algorithm on Twitch is very weird. And I was like, just because you're not getting a high view count does not mean you're not a good streamer. Every day is different. And I'm like, you also have to take into the fact that like, depending on like what time of day or when you're streaming, people are either in school, at work. There could be like a bunch of other people that are live that person also watches, and they could choose between your stream and their stream, or some people like have an appointment, and like some people are going to dinner. Like there's so many different things that play a factor. And I'm like, if people stop in and say hi to you and they're thinking about you, I'm like, that should kind of be enough. So it's like, I have some people that like will stay for the entire stream. Like I had some people stay the whole 12 hours on that day, which was absolutely insane to me. And like, I like wanted to cry because they were like there all day and I saw it, and like they were in chat all day, and I'm like, what the heck? And so, but I'm like, I've had streams where I've literally had 12 people watching, and I've had streams where I've had 300 people watch. It literally just depends on the day. It depends on the time. It depends on the content. Like I'm a variety streamer, so it's like I'm not always playing Fortnite. I'm not always just chatting. I'm kind of doing a bunch of other things, which I'll get into that in a second. But I think it's very, when people are worrying about the view count, it definitely shows. I have my view count turned off. I feel like a lot of people don't know.
I was just gonna say that I have mine turned off also.
So on OBS, depending on what people use, I think on anything you can turn it off. Even if you use like the Twitch creator dashboard, I have it turned off on there too, because sometimes I use that for like clearing chat and stuff. I have it turned off. I don't, because that's like not my main focus, and I think like that's a very big tip that I give to people that are streaming, because some people don't know that you can turn it off. And so I tell people like, turn off the view count. You were gonna play video games anyway. Turn on the camera, play the video game, and have fun. If it helps you, play with a friend. I hate playing by myself.
Same.
I hate it. I pretty much never do unless I'm just shopping, or like doing a just chatting stream. I'm always playing with either like Tyler or Tardis or Gabe or Colt, like any of my best friends. I'm always playing with them because it's like, one, I'm gonna hang out with them regardless. Like we're gonna be in a Discord call, we're gonna be talking, we're gonna be playing a game. So I'm like, I'd rather have these people and like engaging in conversation, and then having people in my stream, and then just kind of integrating the two, rather than sitting there and like playing by myself. So it's definitely like, if you have a low view count and you have no one in there, at least you're with your friends, because it's like all it takes is one person to click on your stream, and if you're just sitting there not talking, they're gonna click right off. But if you're sitting there, you have 3 people in your stream, but you're talking to your friends, someone's gonna come in and be like, oh hey, you guys are talking about Dr.
They feel like they're part of the conversation.
Soda. And
yeah. They feel like they're a part of something. It's easier when you're talking to people. You have someone there to talk to, because I think I was going to say, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was going to say, turn the viewer count off, because I don't care who you are. If one day you have 30 viewers, and I think last night I actually hit the most viewers I've ever had in a stream, which was like, I think it was like 21.3, and that was like, for me, a goal was like to hit 20 average viewers, and I didn't know that until after the stream like summary came in. You get like a little analytics that people don't know about your stream, and I was like, at one point I think I had like 7 in right after I hit the 21 mark, and the time points where it shows you your viewers every 5 minutes. I went from 21 to 7, and I was like, but it doesn't matter, because people, just like real life, they have to go eat dinner, like just like you have to go to bed, they have to go do things, and it's just if you are there talking to turn the viewer count off, because talk to them as if there's 100,000 people in there. Just talk. Enjoy yourself. Do not worry, because I don't care who you are. If I go in to say I was streaming tonight, which I plan on, if I had 2 people, I know I'd be like, what the heck am I doing wrong sometimes? You're like, why don't people want to watch? But it never means that. It never means that. Just people, just enjoy your time, and people will come in and they'll come out, and some days, just like you said, it's very inconsistent. I work with algorithms, and there's no algorithm on Twitch other than they just added a recommended thing. I think pretty recently. That's very new. I didn't even know about that. I just knew Twitch literally has no other algorithm other than viewers. So it's not anything to do with you as a person. It's so hard to put yourself out there. Just be so grateful for people who come in and talk to you, because they're there for you. And would you rather have 1 viewer who's there for you, or 20 who don't like you? So I think that's some good advice. And if you have anything else on that, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Honestly, it's just, turn it off. Just turn the view count off. It really, it's so silly, but it makes such a big difference, because otherwise you're sitting here and you're playing the game and you're checking that view count, and once it goes down, you're like, what am I doing wrong? Am I not being more entertaining? Am I doing it? And then you start getting in your head, and then like your expression goes blank. You can see it. It's just not enjoyable. So do it for you. People are gonna come no matter what. Just have fun. Like,
turn that viewer count off. Turn it off.
Okay. We kind of talked about this, but someone asked me what inspired you to want to work with children and what career field interests you outside of child development.
Yeah, I don't think I asked you what made you want to start with children.
So it was mainly, like I said, my whole life I've wanted to be a mom. So I knew at some point when I was going into college, I actually originally, my major was psychology, and I wanted to be a child psychologist or a family marriage counselor. And I took like 2 psychology classes and I absolutely hated it. Mm-hmm. Like, I hated it. It was
Same.
so like about like, it was so like, Tori's asked me this question and he's gonna kind of get mad that I'm saying this, but sciencey that I was
oh no.
and I was like, this isn't like me. Like, I'm very like,
Real.
I mean, I feel like once I completed the courses and like had the job, it would be more me and not so like scientific, but it was very like, you have to know people's mannerisms and you have to realize like what emotion connects to what side of the brain, and like going through all of this thing, which yes is kind of a part of my major with child development, but it was so much in psychology that it was just kind of overwhelming for me. And I found myself not being intrigued by the courses because with psychology, it was broad, it was with everybody. And so for my major, I had to take child development as one of my prereqs. And so I took the class. The instructor was my professor was the funniest person in the entire world. She would like walk in every day with her baby strapped to her because she was mom, she just had a baby. Yeah. She was so funny. She would have like 2 cups of coffee and her baby strapped to her. And she would just walk in and be like, okay, losers, let's start. And like everyone would just laugh. And like she was so fun and like energetic and like was everything that like I wanted to be, like if I was a teacher. And so I remember I went up to her after class one day and it was the first day of class and I was like, I love you. Like I literally was like, you were like the coolest person I've ever met. And we ended up talking for 3 hours and about like everything. And she was like, I was holding her baby. We were just like having a conversation.
Oh my goodness.
And I kind of told her like, my whole life I've always wanted to be a mom, and like I felt like child psychology was like my thing, but like I'm not so sure now. And I'm like, after taking your class, I'm like, I literally took your class for one day and I want to change my whole life. And like she was talking to me and she was just like, I started out as a psych major, and she's like, I switched to child and adolescent development. I'm like, no way. And she was like, yeah. And she was like, honestly, she's like, I see so much of myself in you. And we like, it was like when you meet someone and you have that soul
I was gonna say, yeah, that's your type of person right there. Yeah.
So like we talked, she gave me her phone number. The next morning I woke up and I had a text from her and she goes, change your major. And
wow.
I did.
Dang, that's crazy.
I know. So like I think I changed my major like I took a full semester because I was obviously already enrolled in the courses, and then I switched my major. And I have loved it ever since. Like it's been so many cool things, obviously pre-COVID, but like I was in hospitals, I was in classrooms, I was interacting with so many different types of people and cultures and like communities, and just like that's me, like that's my vibe, and like I love everything about it. So eventually what I want to do with my major is I want to work in a hospital. I want to be a child life specialist. For people that don't know what that is, it's basically kind of just like, how do I like word this not like difficultly? It's basically just like if a child is going through some sort of trauma in the hospital, I'm kind of the support system and I guide them and the parent through it. I'm showing them different, like if the child needs speech therapy, if they need counseling, if they need anything, I'm the middle person. I'm helping them find counselors and communities, and I'm helping the child kind of like regrow after experiencing such trauma. So that's what I want to do. But with COVID, I can't be in a hospital right now without being an essential doctor, nurse, anything like that. So it's on hold, but that's eventually what I want to do. But that's just my thing. And like meeting her name's Jenny. She's like the best person ever.
Shout out
meeting
Jenny.
her, and then her like talking to me and then just like texting me and telling me to change my major. I'm like, yeah, it was huge. It was like so like impactful, and it was very like, okay, like this is what I'm supposed to do type of thing. And it felt like so right. Like for the first time, you know, when you like go through things and you're kind of iffy about it, but then when you have that one thing and you do it and you like know that it was a good decision, that's how I felt.
Yep.
So I was just like,
that is amazing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just, like you said, it's like people that you surround yourself with are, it shapes you. And that doesn't just mean friends. It could mean professors. It could mean teammates. It could mean people on Twitch. And it's just like when you find something, like you said, you knew at that moment, like, yep, that's what I want to do. So that's crazy.
And then to touch back on the other part of the question, like if I wasn't doing child development, what field would I be in? I mean, like, does it count if I said like I would be like teaching? Because I mean, I am teaching, but like, I don't know. I always saw myself being like, if I didn't do psych, I wanted to be an English major and I wanted to be a high school English teacher, but I feel like I would get eaten alive. I feel like no one would take me seriously because I look so young. So it's I felt like if I was done with school, like I'm 22 now, I would have gotten my bachelor's, I would have gotten my teaching credential by now, and I would have applied to teach, and I would be like a 23-year-old high school teacher. You would already
be teaching. Yeah, it's so quick.
And so I feel like no one would take me seriously because I look so young. I feel like no one would listen to me. Like if I was like, guys, can you be quiet? I feel like no. No one would, like, I don't know. And that's just kind of like, I'm just thinking based off of like how high schoolers are. Like I know they would just be like, be in my TikTok, and I would be like, do your paper.
Yeah, please
so
help me help you, please.
I feel like if it wasn't anything related to children, I love animals. So like I always saw myself being like a vet tech, not a vet, like a vet assistant. I don't perform surgeries or anything like that, but I don't know, something with animals would be cool. I don't see myself, I don't know.
It's hard to say because you know, you don't know, so
because like now I'm doing Twitch, like if I wasn't doing child development, I would definitely, I think, probably just be working like a basic 9-to-5 like minimum wage job or like serving or something, and then probably be putting full time into like content creation. That's
and you can also
happening now.
You can also say like if I wasn't doing, say, child and adolescent development, you could also say, I'd be doing Twitch. You know what I mean? If it doesn't mean that you have to be doing it at the moment, big time, getting through. You could do whatever you want. I think growing up, I wanted to be, and it's not I want to be a coach. I'm a trainer. Like training and coaching is two different things. And like I wanted to open my own gym. I want to do a podcast. I want to do all these things. So I still don't even know, but you never know. It's just
possibilities are endless. And that's
endless.
I tell people about college too, is it's like it's not for everybody, and I know that.
I was just talking about this in my stream,
And like being a teacher, like I'm someone who loves school and like loves education, and obviously I know the importance of it, but it's not for everybody. Like people don't like it. People succeed far beyond without college. So it's like I feel like that's another thing too, that people kind of like they feel like they have to go to college. Like you can take a year off. My mom went back to college when she was 50 years old and got her degree and is now a dietitian working in a hospital. Like she went after high school, got her real estate license, then like got like some sort of AA and like banking and worked at a bank for years, and then like owned a business, did this whole thing, and then eventually decided when she was 50, she's like, oh, I want to go back to school. Like I never really went to college. I'm like, okay.
I was in classes with 50-year-old women and men.
That's what's so cool about college. Like
it's always there.
And it's always there. If you feel super overwhelmed, take a semester off.
100%. It will never matter.
It's not gonna
how long it takes you. It will always be there. If you have an opportunity right now to do something and you say like you can't do college and this thing and that thing's taking off for you right now and you want to do it, school will always be there.
School will always be there.
If you want it, you could say, I never want to go to school. You could turn 60, 70, say, I want to go back. Go ahead.
Yep, go.
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 It'll always be there.
Exactly. Someone asked what my first impression was after making my first stream and if I saw myself doing as well today back then, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. Obviously, no one goes into it with the intent that, like, I'm going to be the best streamer ever. But I definitely, like, after my first stream, like I was saying, it was kind of like a, it's kind of like a technical stream. But I think my first stream, I had like 20 people watching me just because of like Joseph and like friends that I've made in other communities. And I like posted and I was like, guys, I'm finally going to stream. And I remember like turning the camera off and kind of just like sitting there after. And I was like, like I could do this.
Yeah.
I could, oh, my dog's crying. I was like, I could do this, and I could kind of like push forward and actually like make something out of it. I'm like, regardless, like you can only go up. Like, it's not like with Twitch, I feel like it's very rare that like you lose followers. I feel like that's might be common with like other social media platforms. I don't know how it works on Twitch. I don't know if like people just get sick of seeing your picture on the side and like they unfollow you, but like I feel like it's very hard to like really lose a follower on Twitch unless you ban someone yourself. So it's kind of like I was just sitting there and I was like it's only gonna go up. Like, looking at it from my standpoint, that's what I was telling myself. I'm like, it's only gonna go up from here. I had fun. People were telling me that they had fun. Obviously there were people watching me, so I was like, okay, like I could do this. But like if I looked back today from that stream, I don't think I would have as many followers as I do now. And that's just like me being realistic. My goal right now is I do want to hit 2,000 by the end of this year. But
it's a goal. It's a goal.
But it's a goal. But it's like my goal 8 months ago was I want to hit 1,000 by the end of this year.
And look.
Yeah, so
Crazy.
It's like I definitely didn't think I would be where I'm at today. I thought I would get here eventually. I just didn't think I would get here in the short amount of time that I did. But I'm very grateful for it. But it's just,
Of course, yeah.
I didn't think it would be how it is. And like the support is unreal. Like it's absolutely insane and it kind of blows my mind. But it's like I don't think of it as like a streamer viewer thing. I think of it as like I've made so many cool friends. And like
I think sometimes it's hard to like put it into words because like you said I wanted to hit 1,000 by the end of the year, and like you hit it and you're like, oh wow, but like I need to hit 2,000 by, I'm not saying I need to, but like I want to hit 2,000.
No,
you're like,
so then
hey,
you make the next goal. Yeah,
and you're like, let me reflect on that. Damn, I did that. I never knew I was gonna do that, and here we go. Let's try. And if I don't get 2K by the end of the year, you'll probably have it by January 3rd. Yeah,
you'll hit it at some point, and that's the thing too. I feel like people are like, they get discouraged because they don't hit their goals right away. But I'm like, it'll happen. Just like ride the wave, do your thing. But yeah, I definitely didn't think, because I mean, like I started this with the intent, like I said, just having fun. And so it's kind of cool that like now I'm having fun with like a bunch of people that I didn't even know 8 months ago.
Yep.
And now these people have like created such a huge impact on my life, and like we're so close, and it's like crazy because it's like I didn't know these people 8 months ago, and these people, I have stronger relationships with these people that I've known for 8 months than people that I've known for 15 years. So it's like it's absolutely insane. But
like you said, it is hard to put into words, and it could be on so many different scales. Like I said, I was so grateful for you, because if you asked me on the first day would I have like 3 viewers. I think I had 3 viewers at one point, and I was like, no, how do I get 3 viewers? And it's like it's only 3 people. It looks so small, but like
it's hard sometimes.
It's just you set your goals, and you just, like you said, you ride the wave. Yeah. And I was so grateful, and I think it, just like we were saying this whole time, it comes out of just being genuine about what you do, have a passion for it. And like you said, you didn't think that you would be here because you weren't setting goals like that. You weren't in it for that. You were in it to have fun, and it came, and you were like, yeah, I want to have 2,000 followers, not because I want to have 2,000 followers. I want to have 2,000 friends. Yeah. And if I had 50,000 followers and only 2 of them were my friends, then that's fine. That's why you started it. Exactly. And that's why I'm grateful for your channel. And I know you're so grateful for your channel yourself, because you started it so recently and you've grown so much since then, and it's for a reason. And I want people to know that you started this for yourself and only for yourself, and that's why your community is so freaking supportive. It's one of the greatest communities that I know on Twitch. And I might not be in a million different, but I'm in a lot. I've seen a lot. I've watched Twitch for so many months before I decided to start. And there's a reason I only follow so many people and actually go into their channels, because it's what I want to be a part of. I am identifying myself with your channel too. Like not, and we keep talking about identity, but like you shape yourself, and I shape my Twitch stream around yours. I hate going live when other people are live because I'm like, oh my God, I can't watch them tonight. That sucks. Like, and it's like, that's why I'm so grateful to be a part of your community, because it is a part of my life. I'm in it so much. So I'd rather be involved in something that I love rather than do something that I hate. Of course. It's just,
Well, I think that's a good segue into my next question, because they asked me, why did I start streaming? Like, what were my intentions? And I actually really, this is like my favorite thing to talk about. So I won't talk your ear off. Like I'll keep it short.
No, talk.
Definitely. When everyone was talking to me, like my real life friends, when they set me up with this beautiful, beautiful thing over here, and they were talking to me and they were just like, you're just very good at like connecting with people. Like you're a very approachable person. And I'm like, okay. And then I was sitting there one night when I was like I made my Twitch account and I made all of my socials for it like the same day. And so I made my Twitch, I made my Twitter, my Instagram, and my Discord. And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna take this seriously. But I was like, what do I want my intentions to be with this? Because it's like anyone can just turn on a camera, and like you were saying, like I was watching other people's streamers trying to get a feel of like how they interact with chat and like stuff like that. But I was just like watching people and like watching random people. Like it wasn't even people that I knew. It was just random people on my recommended, like going through it. And I was just like, I feel like everything is so like business. Because it is for some people. It definitely is 100%. Like people make career out of this. They're content creators. They don't only do Twitch. Like you were saying, they do YouTube, they do sponsorships, they do all this stuff. So it's like, I get it. But for some of the smaller streamers that I was watching, I saw that they were trying to make it business because that's what they saw other people doing. And I was like, okay, but I'm like, that's not really me. And so I was like, what can I do? And I was sitting there and I was like, I just want to build like a safe space. That was like my thing. So I was going into it and I'm like, I want it to be a safe space. Anybody can come here. I just want people to feel like they always have a friend, whether that's me or somebody else that they meet in my community. So like I was making my Discord server. I have like a team up section. So like if people want to play with someone, they can go in there. I have an advice section. So like if people need advice with anything, there's no boundaries. Like you can get as deep as you want, obviously, like appropriate, but like be as deep as you want and like have people that are there for you, and like people can go in there. Like I made all of these different things because I was like, I don't want this to be very business. I want this to be like a safe space for everybody. And so then I made a self promo section in my chat or in my Discord server, which was huge because I was like, in my opinion, I feel like there's room for everybody. So it's like, if I can grow, what's the difference between me growing and like somebody else? Like, why can't they grow too? Like, I don't feel like I have to be the only one at the top. Like, it should be even for everybody, equal for everyone. And that's what Twitch is. Anybody can join. So I was like, okay, well, I want people to be able to like promote their stuff too. Like if I'm not streaming, somebody else can promote it in there, and like maybe my community can go into theirs. And like this was when I was looking at it when I was first making it, and like what it is now like blows my mind. Like seeing like how much everybody supports each other and like how much everybody is there for each other, like it makes me super emotional because it's like that's what I wanted. Like I have achieved what I wanted my stream to portray. Like I wanted it to be a safe space. I wanted everybody to be positive and friendly and welcoming and loving and just like be there for people, because it's like at the end of the day, people turn on the computer because they don't have anybody else. Maybe something bad is going on at home. Maybe their parents are struggling. Maybe they're going through a divorce. Maybe they just lost a loved one. Like people go on the internet to escape. And if they could come to my channel and escape to like a safe place where they know that they're going to have a support system behind them, whether it's just me or whether it's 1,000 people, like I want them to be able to come in there and be like, I don't feel good today. I want to go to Rosie's stream and cheer up a little bit. Like that was my main goal. Like I didn't want it to be like, I appreciate all the support people give me, but like I don't do this for the subs. I don't do it for the bits. I don't do it for the donos. Like it's so appreciated. Like it means so much to me that people want to support me and like help me put like money and all this stuff into my channel so I can do more things. Like, I love that people see something in me that I didn't see in myself, but like, that's not why I do it. It's just like, I do it because at one point when I dropped all of those girls, I didn't have any friends. Like, I had my guy friends, but like, those don't count. Like, you know, you're a girl, like you want your girl time, and like, you want to be able to like talk to somebody and have it not be like, I feel like guys aren't very emotional, and like girls like will hear you out and like let you talk and like get everything out on the table, and then you guys talk about it. With guys, they're just like, oh, like don't let it get to you. And sometimes I need to hear that, but sometimes it's nice to just like have your girl talk. And I was like, I didn't have anybody, and I felt like I didn't have anybody that I could go to, and it was such an awful feeling that I was just like, when I was making my Twitch channel, I'm like, dude, I don't want anyone to ever feel like the way I felt. And I know it happens all the time, but I was just like, I don't want anybody to feel like that ever. And it was so painful for me. And I was just like, my escape was Twitch. And like, not that like I was talking to a bunch of people, which I was, but like, even when I was sad, I would just flip on someone's stream and like, I just felt better. Like, I felt like I was sitting there, like just hanging out on the couch, watching a friend play a video game. And it's like, sometimes it's like, you don't need someone to talk to, but you just need that like presence. I have a lot of people that just lurk in my stream, which is fantastic. But it's like, people message me and they're like, oh, like I was just doing my homework and like felt lonely because like school's out. So I just had your stream up. And I'm like, that's my intent. Like, that is enough for me. Like, I don't even need someone to say hi. Like, as long as I could just be there for people. Obviously I can't physically be there, but like, I'm everything that I can to be close enough to that point, I want to do. So it's like, I just wanted to create a safe space for people, and like a place where people can go and like not feel judged and not feel like they had to like be this perfect person, or like if they were struggling, like they could cry about it, or like they could talk about their emotions and like they didn't have to hide it and like pretend to be strong. Like, I just wanted it to be a safe space. So
well, I
feel
can
like
just
I'm
say
achieving it.
No, I'm gonna say this from being someone who, like I said in the beginning, who came into your stream to cheer up, in a sense where like, watch how to play Fortnite, watch you interact with your viewers, in a sense where I was, and I still am, a viewer of your channel, and I will always be. And when I started making my Discord, I looked at your Discord because Tyler, your best friend, also, I asked him for advice because I saw that, you know, he helps you so much and you help him. And I said, is there any way, you know a lot about Discord, could you help me make my Discord? He was like, yeah, go on Discord, screen share, I will do it, the whole thing for you. And we basically essentially looked at your channel because I said, I love the way her Discord set up with it's literally meant for everybody in there. It's not really meant for you made it so that other people coming in can feel comfortable. And I remember I didn't have a life advice channel, and a viewer from your channel who, on the first day that you allowed me to have viewers because you posted about in your Discord, said, hey, can we do like a life advice section like Rosie's channel? And I was like, oh my God, I wish I would have done this in the beginning. So not only coming from me, people who both view my channel and your channel, because they came from you first, because you promoted me, they said that they wanted that channel because they love it so much in your Discord. So just know that I know they didn't tell you that, but they said that to me, that they really wanted that channel in there because maybe they can get a different opinion from someone. And that's why there's so many people in there that if somebody has an issue, everybody's there like, listen, this is my thought, okay, off of Rosie's idea, this is my thought. And it's just, you did that, you did do that. So I just want to let you know that you did make a safe space, and I think that's why you will be so successful and why you're already successful. And I know that you'll continue to grow because you make your Twitch channel such a happy place. And I think why wouldn't you want it any other way?
I think it's just like hard for me too, because like I am such an emotional person. So it's like, I care so deeply about other people. And I feel like that's hard for some people to understand if you aren't an emotional person, because it's like, never do I want it to come off as like non-genuine or like that this just isn't me, because I'm like, this is me. And like, it's so amazing seeing how successful it's become, and like how people, like, I get messages every day of like long paragraphs that like I read and I sit there and I like cry, but it's like, you don't realize like how something so small affects somebody. And I think definitely with my major, it's helped me a lot in this sense, because it's like, I'm looking at the way that people like grow up and develop, and how like different circumstances like trigger different things. And it's just like, I've studied it, I've been through it, and I'm like, if I can just set people up for success, like that's the best thing ever. So it's like, I have this, and it's like, it means so much to me. Like, I literally call it my baby, because it's like, I've put so much time and effort and love into it, and I'm happy that people are seeing that and it's being reciprocated. So it's like, that enough for me is like a win. Like, that's perfect. Like, that's all I want. Even if one person got something out of it, that's enough for me. But it definitely makes me so happy that like it is being as impactful as it is, because at the end of the day, like, that's all I want. Especially like showing from me, like that's all I care about. Like, if I were to be like an influencer, like that would be my thing. Like, I don't care about like FabFitFun boxes and like sponsorships and all that. Like, this is my thing. Like,
and the thing is that though, if like with sponsorships that you do get in the future, and if there are those that you already had, people will know that you won't do a sponsorship if you're not genuine. You know what I mean? So I think that's a great community.
I definitely want it to be, I mean, at the end of the day, you never know what's going to approach you, and I'm going to take any opportunity I can get within reason, obviously, if it reflects me and my brand. Because I feel like that's the other thing too. People get so caught up in like sponsorships, and they just want to like make all this money and like get themselves out there, which is great. But it's like, you also want to think about you as your brand and what you want your channel to reflect, and like how you want everything to go. And so it's just like, it's so important to me that like everything that I involve myself and the people like you and like Maddie and, oh my God, Landon is like such a big inspiration to me alone, just with like everything he's built and like the type of person he is, and like how he's set up Carnage, and like all of those guys. And I think there's like 2 girls, literally the most genuine people I've ever met. And like, you go into every single one of them, and like, they're all just like, you just feel the love, and like, you can tell that it's real. And it's like, that is just something that like I love. And I get that out of Maddie too. And it's like, I see that in you. I see it in Carly. I see that in Tyler. Like, Tyler is one of the first people I met on Twitch, and he's now like one of my best friends. And just like, it's crazy, because it's like, you definitely attract what you put out, but it's like, I never want that to go away. And I joke about it all the time. Like, I tell my chat, I'm like, if I'm ever like straying far from it, like, yell at me, like, be like, Rosie, get back in your lane. Like, cause you know, I'm human. Everybody like goes through it, and I haven't been in a position yet, but it's like, along the way, like, you go through things and you never know. And I just never want to stray from that. That's like my most important thing. So.
No, but I just want to, that answered your question of why you said what were your intentions when you started, and those intentions as if I didn't know you, which I didn't, that one day that I came in, and even if you weren't talking about advice for bullying at that moment, I still, whatever you were talking about, whatever people in chat were talking about is what you wanted. You made such a supportive community, and like you said, like, I just found Landon through you, and you said he's such a huge inspiration. And think about it, he built that. If he brought in one bad apple, someone might think that that's what he portrays. So I can see from what you're saying that he puts so much thought and time, because it's almost, I always refer it, because I played sports my whole life, but like on a team, the coach recruits players, but he has to recruit people too, because if you're just bringing in people who all have big egos and only care about themselves, you'll never win. You'll never be a team. So I think that what you're saying about Landon and his team, and you with your team, essentially, as in your channel and your community, you hit that goal, and it will always be there. I think it'll always be there. If you ever had a sponsorship, or if you ever had, say you were like Landon and you built a team and you brought people in, it would only be, I know for a fact, you would only bring in what you want to essentially illuminate in your channel. So I just want to say that it's amazing to see that, and I'm proud of you for what you've done.
Thank you.
And for the short amount of time that I've been on Twitch, but for the longer amount of time that I've been watching you and seeing what you've done so far. And I know there's so much more before that I didn't get to see, but that you've shared light on this podcast. And I just want to say that your channel will always be something that I love, and I will always be supporting you every single day. I told people in my Discord about the podcast. They're so excited to see it, and you'll always have a special place in my heart, because that first day, like you said in the Promote Yourself channel, you helped me start. And I know this won't be the end of my Twitch journey, and if I never gained a follower again, I wouldn't care. I'm so grateful that You gave me someone to talk to, and you were giving that day. You gave me something. You weren't even thinking about yourself. I put it in the promote yourself. I didn't even know you put it in your general. Then you put it in your general. I found out like a week later, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. I was like, this promote yourself, and then you posted it in your main, and I was just like, I literally found that out like a week after my first stream, and I was like, I didn't even thank her. And so I made sure that today that you knew that, because I can only say so much in a chat that I wanted you to hear how genuinely grateful I am for your community and all the people in it and you. So
thank you. I appreciate you too. Honestly, it just like not just with you, it's just like that's what I want. Like I just like everybody deserves to be supported by everybody. That's just like all I want at the end of the day. Like I try to do it with as many people, but like you're so amazing. And I remember like the first time you came into my stream and like one of the first times we played together, I literally messaged you and I'm like, I feel like we'd be best friends, because it's like, it's true. Like, I don't know. I'm just very big on like people and like who I connect with. And I felt like we got along really well. And like, definitely it was cool meeting another girl my age that like I played video games with. So when you started streaming, I was like, heck yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Like this is great. So
yeah.
But all the other questions I got, we pretty much talked about throughout the podcast.
That's perfect then. Yeah. Those questions are great.
Yeah.
But seriously, I just want to thank you. We'll just end it here. I just want to thank you for coming on. Like I said, you couldn't have been the more perfect person because like I said, this podcast will be a bunch of things, but the first series I want to do, since I'm in the moment on Twitch, I want to interview people who do Twitch streams, and you were the first person, the only person I wanted on the first episode. I'm so grateful that you even knew who I was, and the fact that you wanted to do this and take time out of your day to do this. It's just like how life comes in full circle, how I was in your chat and now we're doing this. Life's crazy. So
awesome though.
Yeah, I just want to thank you so much. And the last words that I want on this podcast, I want you to just plug yourself, all of your socials where people can find you.
Guys, please follow me on all of my socials. Coming soon to YouTube, hopefully, but it's just Rosiepxo, Rosiepxo.
And I will put it on a graphic too, so that people can see. Awesome. But thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on. And tune in, guys. I don't know when the next episode will be, but it will do a couple episodes on Twitch. We'll talk about more on being an athlete in college and maybe just whatever comes my way. But I just know, guys, that Rosie's awesome. Please go check out all of her socials, especially her Twitch channel. And I'm so grateful to have her on, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We will see you guys very soon.